Moment ago, the Miami Dolphins won the toss. They have deferred. The Jets will receive. And Mark Sanchez getting ready to take the field.
Yeah, Marv, after looking so sharp in their opener week 1, I thought the offense really took a step back last week against Pittsburgh. They didn't handle the blitz well, and I didn't think they did a good enough job winning the one-on-one battles in the passing game, and that really made things difficult for Mark Sanchez.
Joe McKnight, 3-year man out of Southern Cal, who led the NFL in kick returns last season. Those are his numbers to this point. He's been set back by a hamstring, which has cost him in terms of carrying the ball. And a 5-year man out of Montana, Dan Carpenter, will kick it off. Last week in the Dolphins' home opener, they beat the Raiders 35-13. This after the loss in their opening game against the Houston Texans, and this one is underway. So McKnight will stay right there. They will bring it out to the 20 as we check out the Jets' offensive alignment. They have 3 Pro Bowl players up front, but the focus remaining on Austin Howard, their new starter at right tackle since the departure of Wayne Hunter. Backs and receivers. Well, running back Sean Green was clear to play after the Jets were concerned about a concussion, and Jeff Cumberland is in there for the injured Dustin Keller. Now, Tim Tebow is on the field along with Mark Sanchez. So Rex Ryan and Tony Sperano getting right to it. As Tebow flanks to the left side, Sanchez goes the other way. And it is incomplete, intended for Stephen Hill.
What really gets your attention when you see number 15 on the field for the Jets, and they're just more of a decoy. They try and throw a little stick route the other way. You're going to see Sanchez go away, and you just, boy, it gets your attention, but he's just going to run a little shoot route. We saw this the last time we saw the Jets in week 1. They had Sanchez they had Tebow on the field with Sanchez, and they tried to throw it.
And Rich, coming into today, the Jets had used Tebow only 12 plays in 2 games. 11 behind center, 1 at H-back, and last week against the Steelers did not attempt a pass, ran for 22 yards, has yet to attempt a pass. Tebow back to the sideline, the handoff to Green, and he is stacked up. Picked up a couple. Now look at the Dolphins defensively, and they made that transition to the 4-3 with Cameron Wake now putting on pressure from defensive end. The linebackers, the 9-year veteran Carlos Dansby in the middle, leads the team in tackles. In the secondary, Richard Marshall starting after sitting out the second half last week after injuring his back. And Rich, the Dolphins thin at corner with both Marshall and Sean Smith banged up. Green and Powell in the backfield. Bilal Powell, the second-year man from Louisville. Sanchez with time. So a collision and a flag in the left flat. Sanchez looking for Holmes, who was covered by Nolan Carroll, the extra defensive back. The referee, someone the Jets saw in game 1 against Buffalo, Robert Frazier out of Dallas, a Division II official.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 28. The spot foul. Automatic. First down.
It is called on Carroll.
And this is unfortunate because this is just really good coverage by Nolan Carroll. Now just relax. I mean, you're right there. Just make a play on the ball. Don't panic. And that's what happened with Nolan Carroll.
See that pass interference rundown against the Miami Dolphins. Now short range pop. Green on the catch, only 2 yards, as Dansby was right there. Carlos Dansby, the middle linebacker.
I think it's important not to be fooled by the record a year ago. The strength of this football team right now is their defense, particularly that front seven, Marv. They can stop the run, do a good job getting after the passer. If there's a weakness right now, I think it's their coverage units on the back end.
And the Dolphins would like to forget about last season. They go 0-7 at the start. They did win 6 of their last 9 to finish 6-10. Here's Sanchez with time again, and it's intercepted. off by Richard Marshall, the right corner, and it's Miami ball.
Well, you can see Mark Sanchez, he's not at all happy with Clyde Gates. You've got a young receiver on the field. Now watch him right at the top. Now he's got to flatten. He fades and he allows Richard Marshall, the corner, to come back underneath. That's just a mistake by a young player. You've got to flatten coming out of that in cut.
Fifth time this season, Sanchez has been intercepted. You mentioned Clyde Gates. He had signed as a free agent after Miami had cut him. So Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins take over. Reggie Bush is flanked wide to the left. Tannehill with a short completion inside the 45 as he connects with the tight end. Anthony Fasano picked up 3 on the play. Ryan Tannehill, very poised rookie out of Texas A&M, a first-round pick, 8th selection overall.
And I thought he really settled down nicely after kind of a rough start in week 1. Played really well last week. A key, 0 turnovers.
Out of the ground. Bush gets inside the 40, just shy of a first down. Picked up 5 on the play. Let's check out the lineups. Miami's offense, strong game for the offensive line last week against Oakland. The left side fortified by 4-time Pro Bowl tackle Jake Long. Now look at the backs and receivers. We talked about Reggie Bush. He surprised the wideout Brian Hartline over the first 2 games. 4-year man from Ohio State with 12 catches to lead the Dolphins. Now Javorsky Lane comes in at fullback. He's in front of Reggie Bush for this 3rd down and 2. And the handoff to Lane, who is a large man at 5'11", 258 pounds. Although last February he weighed in at 304 pounds.
What a great story, Javorsky Lane. He's a big, strong man, and they've got some girth inside. When you look at Richie Incognito, and Mike Pouncey, and John Jerry, I made the comment last night, John Jerry looks like a tackle to me playing guard. He's 350 pounds, very strong on the inside of that offensive line.
Miami first down at the Jet 35. This began with the interception thrown by Mark Sanchez. Tannehill with time, and he completes short of the first time. The tight end Anthony Fasano, who caught a touchdown pass last week against the Raiders, able to make the reception.
They come out thrown on the early downs. They know they're going to get some man-to-man coverage. Really nice adjustment there by Anthony Fasano. He's working inside on the linebacker, David Harris. Does a nice job posting him up and then sliding back away from coverage.
2nd and about a yard. And here's Bush to the outside. Put a nice move on and is bumped out just outside the 10. He goes for 16. It was Darrelle Revis who was able to get a piece of him to knock him out of bounds. Reggie Bush, who people wondered, can he run through the tackles? Well, he's done just that and then is able to take it to the outside.
Yeah, it's been a great story coming over from New Orleans a year ago, 1,000-yard rusher. 263 rushing yards last week from this Miami offense. That's how you help your young quarterback.
And a nice block from Javorsky Lane to set it up.
Go, go!
And off again to Bush, able to cut through inside the 5. He's so tough to bring down. A host of shifty moves by Reggie Bush, who, as you mentioned earlier, ran for 172 yards last week against the Raiders.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Marv, that this guy wants to bounce runs to the edge, but he's more than willing to run up inside, and when he does, he's doing a much better job finishing runs. You can see Darrelle Revis there falling back.
2nd and goal from the 3. Bush in the backfield with Clay. Clay working at fullback. The handoff to Bush. Drives off the right side, and he is stopped. Stopped by the right defensive end, Mike DeVito. Reggie Bush in his 6th NFL season out of Southern Cal last year ran for 1,086 yards. They say he is the first guy in the weight room in the morning, and he's the last guy to leave. He has been a terrific example for the young players on this Dolphin squad.
Yeah, I think you put his ability with his work ethic, and you've got something special. I think it's always a good combination. Talent only gets you so far, but Reggie Bush is taking it to the next level.
Now Daniel Thomas has joined Bush in the backfield. Here's the handoff. Touchdown, Miami. Daniel Thomas, the second-year player from Kansas State, able to bring it in.
Well, you're bringing a little bit bigger back at Daniel Thomas. The only issue with Daniel Thomas is he hasn't been able to stay healthy. But he can be a good one if he can stay on the field. These young players, they miss so much practice time, it really holds them back.
Now the point after by Dan Carpenter. 8 plays, 47 yards in 4 minutes, 6 seconds. And it was all started with Mark Sanchez, picked off by Richard Marshall. Daniel Thomas does the rest. A look at the Miami drive. Daniel Thomas taking it in for the touchdown. Thomas had sat out last week due to a concussion. McKnight will run it out. Across the 15, and down he goes. Gang tackle just shy of the 20. So Mark Sanchez, who was picked off earlier, a little pushing and shoving between these two clubs. A lot of stuff that's changed during the course of the week through the newspapers. Santonio Holmes lashing out at the defensive backs. We have the return of Tony Sperano, although he was quiet. He is now the offensive coordinator, former head coach of Miami. So much to talk about, and we'll be back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. McDonald's, value that's as smart as you are. And by TD Ameritrade.
Last week, the Jets took some second guessing on not using Tim Tebow enough. Here's Tebow at the quarterback position. He hands it off to Green, who tried to make the turn at the edge, but could not. Was cut off by the free safety, Rashad Jones, 3-year man from Georgia. No gain on the play. You see Sanchez making his return.
Well, you've got an unbalanced line. Look at all these offensive linemen, tight ends, and they actually decide to run the ball this way, where they're one short. They don't have the down safety accounted for. No one on Rashad Jones.
Second down and 10. Sanchez back at quarterback. Dawn Green, the running back. 7-0 Miami. Sanchez able to go underneath, has the tight end Jeff Cumberland, but not much there. Met by Carlos Dansby. Of course, the Miami Dolphins certainly have memories of Tebow mania in his first start of the season as a member of Denver last year here at Miami. Tebow.
Illegal contact. Defense. Number 24. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
On the left corner, Sean Smith. But Tebow did virtually nothing the first 55 minutes and then engineered a 15-point rally. A couple of touchdowns the final 2.5 minutes, and then the Broncos go on to win it in overtime. And Rich, that was the official start of Tebow mania. It was right here in Miami.
And that really bothered some people here within the organization, that they actually had a day to honor the former Gators that came back. That was not probably a good idea in hindsight.
At the time of that victory, Denver was 1-4 coming in. Here is Green to the outside. Able to work his way close to the 30, picked up 6 on the play, and we are set for an update from New York. Let's hear from JB and Coach Bill Cowan.
Saints off to a quick start.
Yeah, Marvin, Rich, how about this? A mad New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees and Lance Moore, 9 yards out, opening drive, 83 yards, 7-0, now 7-3 New Orleans.
46th consecutive game with a touchdown by Drew Brees, one shy of Johnny U. Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, JB, it is a second down and 4 for the Jets. Green once again trying to make the turn and was cut off by the outside linebacker Koamisi. It's an advance of 2.
And Stephen Hill's down.
Stephen Hill, who had the outstanding opening day game against the Buffalo Bills, caught 2 touchdown passes, very quiet last week against Pittsburgh as they check out the rookie from Georgia Tech. We'll take a break.
Well, back here in Miami, unfortunately, you got to be careful around Piles. There's not a lot you can do in this situation. Actually, his own teammate, Conrad Rulin, the tight end, runs right into the knee of Stephen Hill, and that could hurt.
Jets looking at a 3rd and 1. Bilal Powell in the backfield. Deep drop. And the swing pass caught by Rulin and has a first down. Dansby making the stop. Conrad Rulin, first-year man out of Stanford, who was a high school teammate of Mark Sanchez. In fact, they played basketball together. Mark telling us yesterday that unfortunately Rulin got more playing time because his dad was
the coach.
Yeah, head coach.
And you're going to see a lot of Rulin today, Marv, because of the injury to John Connor. He's a guy that's been trained to play tight end. He can go back and play fullback, the H-back. He's a great versatility in this offense.
Sanchez again has time. Diving attempt is made and is incomplete. Jeremy Curley, the intended receiver, covered by the free safety Rashad Jones.
Well, you can't imagine it was a normal week for this gentleman right here, Tony Sperano, the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins. We were kidding him last night about making sure he gets to the right locker room this morning. And you know, these games mean a lot to these coaches. He's got former coaches and colleagues, and of course the players. And this is where he made his home for a number of years. And
His life, I will think
it is. And of course, you want to go out, you want to do your best job, and somehow find a way to get a win.
This Green, he found a hole, but just a short pickup. Rex Ryan was telling us that he did not like Tony Sperano when he was head coach of the Dolphins, and the feeling was mutual from Tony, who told us last night he really did not know Rex. And then Ryan hires Sperano as his new offensive coordinator. Now they're on the same side there. I guess there is mutual respect.
Oh, I would think so. Look, it's tough sometimes when it's in a division, but Tony Sperano is a good football coach, and he's a good offensive coordinator.
Tim Tebow is back on the field, but a timeout is taken. They were setting up with both Sanchez and Tebow. Timeout. We'll be right back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Whatever you want to do, Droid does. And by the all-new Honda Accord. It starts with you.
Well, the Jets changed their mind following the timeout. It's Sanchez on the field and Tebow over at the sideline. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we did the Buffalo Jet opener, and you went through it as a quarterback, particularly in Minnesota when you first started before going over to Oakland. I mean, what's the feeling when you're being pulled out, sent out as a wideout? How do you get a rhythm going in this type of scenario?
And that's the big key. You know, you talked to Tony Sperano last night, said we got to focus on drive starters for Sanchez in this offense to get him going. It's hard to do that when you're Mark Sanchez if you're coming off the field a lot early in the game.
3rd down and 6 for Sanchez and the Jets. They're down 7-0, 5.5 left first quarter. Sanchez in trouble. He's able to throw downfield, and it's broken up. Intended for Stephen Hill, who apparently is all right after getting involved in that collision. And Sean Smith, a very big corner at 6'3", was able to leap with the 6'4" Stephen Hill.
And what's happening is Odrick's getting pressure on. This is a scary throw. I mean, this is late down the middle. He just throws one up there for Hill, but boy, the pressure already getting to Mark Sanchez.
So the punting unit has come on, and Robert Malone gets it away. Penalty marker is down as Thigpen looked to return. It's a 53-yard punt by Malone, who has had his ups and downs over his first 3 games. Robert Malone, it's his 5th team since back in 2010. He was with San Diego in preseason, signed prior to the opening game.
Illegal block in the back. Return team, number 28. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
It's called on Nolan Carroll of the Dolphins. So Miami back to the offense when we come back. Miami will start from their 5-yard line. They have a 7-0 lead on the Jets as we come up on 5 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Bush able to change direction, and that is submarine down. So Reggie Bush going left and right of the strong safety. LaRon Landry stopped him after a 6-yard gain.
Yeah, and if you're the Jets, you better find a way to contain Reggie Bush, or it could be a long day. He's not afraid to smack it up in there. Of course, he's got the speed. The bounce runs to the edge. And he's always had very good vision in the hole. He's done a much better job finishing runs.
Second in rushing in the NFL, of course, was early in the season, but C.J. Spiller of the Bills is number 1. Bush, the feature back, takes the handoff, and again, big hole up the middle, and picks up the first down. Jeremiah Bell, the one-time member of the Miami Dolphins, coming up from free safety to make the stop, and 12 more rushing yards to the numbers of Reggie Bush.
And just keep an eye on how many times he runs back to the left side behind that big offensive line. We talked about Jake Long and Richie Incognito. That's where the majority of the runs are going to go, to the left side.
On first down, the screen is way off as Tannehill was looking in the area of Devon Bess. The numbers on Bush: 6 carries, 50 yards. The offensive coordinator for the Dolphins is Mike Sherman, a one-time head coach and general manager of the Green Bay Packers. Joe Philbin, is Mike, head coach. Spent much time as an offensive coordinator with Green Bay. Bush is the lone running back. It's a 2nd down and 10. Tannehill ducks it and has Anthony Armstrong. Armstrong with his 2nd catch of the season, stopped by Revis, picked up 9, and we're set for another update. Let's go to New York. Jamie and Bill Keller.
Since he scored first, but
Oh, and Andy Dalton, he gets pressured here by Ryan Kerrigan. Ill-advised swing pass right to Rob Jackson of the Washington Redskins. They tie up with a defensive score, 7-7.
back to Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
Thanks, guys. 3rd down and 1 for Miami as we approach 3 minutes to play in this first quarter. Off the roll, Tannehill. Incomplete. Intended for Daniel Thomas.
Well, there's the ones you like to have back. I mean, you got a 3rd and 1 and a little bit of a touch throw for Ryan Tannehill to Daniel Thomas.
So Jeremy Curley drops back. Brandon Fields will come on a punt. Last week he was booming them away against Oakland. He had 5 that went at least 50 or more, although he had one that was a line drive and was returned for 47. He was not pleased about that. And this is another deep punt. Curley worked his way to the 25, a 57-yard punt and a 17-yard return, and a flag is down.
During the return, illegal block in the back by the return team. 10 yards from the spotted foul. First down.
All right, we'll take a break with Miami in front of the Jets 7-0. You're watching the NFL on CBS. In 2 days, don't miss Dennis Quaid and Michael Chiklis in the world premiere of Vegas, premiering Tuesday at 10/9 Central, only CBS. Slow start for Mark Sanchez, just 2 of 6, 5 yards, and that 1 interception by Richard Marshall. that led to the Miami touchdown.
Can't find a way to get the ball on the perimeter to the wide receivers. It was a problem last week as well.
Powell and Ruland in the backfield. Powell trying to dance his way through tackles. Kevin Burnett, the outside linebacker, on the stop, 4-yard pickup.
Well, you go back and you look at the confusion here on the first play of the game. Not sure who he's throwing it to. Throws the interception, and then a dangerous throw late down the middle. And they've got to find a way to get Mark going. They've got to find a way to settle him down a little bit. It all starts with better protection up front and those receivers. This is something I noticed last week when I watched the film. They've got to find a way to defeat tight man-to-man coverage. They're not winning those one-on-one battles.
Stephen Hill is flanked wide to the left side. They line up in an offset eye. And Sanchez in trouble, able to go underneath. Powell finds some running room and has a first down. Good job by Bilal Powell. Carlos Dansby is able to make the stop, and that's good for 9. There was pressure from the free safety, Rashad Jones, and Sanchez able to get it off to Powell.
Really nice job here by Mark Sanchez. You see him step up. He sees the pressure late, does a nice job finding Powell and avoiding the sack. Just a good alert play by Mark Sanchez.
Just under 2 minutes remaining, first quarter. The Dolphins with a 7-0 lead on the Jets. Green and Ruland now in the backfield. So Ruland has been all over the field. Here's Sanchez on a timing pattern, and it is incomplete. But a penalty marker is down. Holmes, the intended receiver, and it appears to be an interference on Marshall, the right corner.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 31. The 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, just watch the left hand right here. He grabs him twice, and the official's going to call that one every time.
Santonio Holmes coming off a rough game against the Steelers. Jet fans remember Santonio spending the fourth quarter of the final game last season sulking on the sideline. A game played here in Miami, won by the Dolphins. Sanchez intercepted 3 times, did not end well for Holmes. This is Powell getting the call. And there were many people, of course, there are contractual issues who did not think that Holmes would return in a Jet uniform this season.
Well, they found a way to work out their differences this offseason, and it's just a question of frustration from a veteran player. And that's something he's got to do a better job of, controlling his emotions when adversity sets in.
Second down and 6. Final minute, first quarter. Deep drop taken by Sanchez, and he dunks it for a first down. Has the tight end Conrad Ruland. Mark Sanchez telling us last night how much he misses tight end Dustin Keller, who had 65 catches last season, and Mark says he's most comfortable with Keller, who's been out with the injury.
Well, yeah, it's a security blanket, but a nice job here by Sanchez. He's looking for his primary. It's not there. He comes all the way back inside to the tight end Ruland.
And now offensive tackle Jason Smith, picked up earlier this season by the Rams, lines up as the tight end. It's 1st and 10 at midfield for the Jets. And off again to Powell, seeing quite a bit of action. Stopped by Nisi for no gain. And that will do it for this first quarter. The score, Miami 7, Jets nothing. We'll be back here in South Florida after these words. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. A svelte-looking head coach of the New York Jets, Rex Ryan, in his 4th season with the Jets. One-time defensive coordinator and one of the best in the game with the Baltimore Ravens. Second down and 10. McKnight is now flanked out to the far side, and a diving catch by Hill, and now they say incomplete inside the 45-yard line.
Well, one of the strengths of this Miami is the run defense. You look at this, they've held some really good backs. Arian Foster to just the 3 yards. Ben Tate to 1.2. Darren McFadden, and now Sean Green today. And That's nothing new around here. They were third in run defense a year ago.
Now Green is back. He and Powell in the backfield. The Jets like to talk about ground and pound, but with this personnel, can you be successful with ground and pound?
I think they have to be. They've got to be able to run the ball. They're just not good enough right now in the passing game.
Sanchez took a long look, and down he goes. Jared Odrick, in his third year out of Penn State, coming up with his first sack of the season.
Well, they're struggling a little bit on the edges. You see Jared Odrick coming off the top. Mark Sanchez trying to step up. He steps right into the sack. And really, when you look downfield, not a lot of places to go with the football. Look at this. Marshall's dominating Curley at the line of scrimmage. They're not beating press man-to-man coverage.
Robert Malone with the punt. Devon Bess is back. Works his way to the 20. Putting on the stutter step, but the Jets able to handle it. A 43-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Nick Bellore making the tackle. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon from almost sunny Miami. It was raining earlier in the day. Just the start here on the second quarter. Jets trailing Miami 7-0. And the handoff to Daniel Thomas, who scored the touchdown back in the first quarter. Kendrick Ellis on the tackle. Watch fantasy football today and get game time player news and active updates to help set your lineup. It's live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network and at cbssports.com/live. Second down and 7. Thomas remaining in the backfield. He's a second-year man out of Kansas State. Battles his way to the 29-yard line. David Harris, the inside linebacker, making the stop. Daniel Thomas, injury hit last year as a rookie, sat out last week due to a concussion. And now Reggie Bush checks back in. See the play selection.
Timeout, Miami.
10 rushes to 5 passes by Tannehill, and a timeout is taken by the Dolphins.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FedEx. FedEx does more than shipping. FedEx, solutions that matter. E-Trade, works beautifully. And by Outback Steakhouse. It's always fresh in the Outback.
Rich, the loss of Steve Sable has meant so much to so many people. I mean, I can recall my first memories of watching football were by virtue of NFL films and just the lush production that would take place. And the voice of God, John Facenda, who would set the scene.
Yeah, really incredible. I grew up watching football follies and bloopers, and of course knew Steve Sable very well. So it was a tragic loss, a very dear friend.
And Steve and his dad, Ed, were just so far ahead of their time in terms of production. You see the penalty flag down. Reggie Bush, the intended receiver, and it's Bart Scott called, or will be called for the penalty. Bart Scott, a man who has been very much in the news the last couple of days. Saddest moments with the media since coming to the Jets from the Ravens. Angry moments.
Illegal contact. Defense. Number 57. 5-yard penalty for the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Bart Scott, number 57, particularly upset several weeks back when the Jets were being portrayed as clowns during the course of that 0-4 preseason. So he stopped talking to the media, but there have been several incidents, including this past Friday, as he threatened reporter Dan Leberfeld, who writes for a jet-geared website. Reggie Bush is back. First down for Miami. Bush, this time is stopped momentarily. He just keeps going. Picked up a couple more, 4 in all. David Harris on the tackle. Leberfeld was trying to snap a photograph of Scott while he was having a conversation with another reporter, and Scott felt that Leberfeld was actually trying to provoke an incident, and then Bart Scott had to be restrained by the Jet public relations staff. Tannehill completes in the left flat to Bush. Not much there. Rivas makes the stop. The Jets, Rich, I think, are hoping that Bart Scott can bring that kind of fury and agitation to the field here against the Dolphins this afternoon.
Well, you know he can. He's a very intense player, and a guy that doesn't take plays off, and you just like a lot of us, sometimes you got to keep your cool. And I think people know what buttons to push sometimes with Bart Scott.
Well, obviously not too difficult to push those buttons. Tannehill off the roll and completes up the near side to Bess, who finds running room. Devon Bess with a 23-yard gain, covered by David Harris.
Well, they do a nice job moving the pocket and getting Ryan Tannehill, who's very athletic, and does a nice job throwing the ball on the move. Get him out on the perimeter, and you see a very nice throw, low and away to Bess, who could be a tough tackle as well in the open field.
Miami first down at the Jet 38. Daniel Thomas returns to the backfield. 7-0 Dolphins lead the Jets. We're early second quarter. A long look from Tannehill. Cannot find anyone. Now he does and has a first down with the tight end Anthony Fasano. The Dolphins on the move. That's good for 18 yards. We're set for an update from New York City. JB and Coach Bill Cowher.
Rookie to rookie, Marv.
Boy, how about Tannehill? Now you see Andrew Luck find T.Y. Hilton 40 yards, having a 6-play, 74-yard drive. These young quarterbacks look pretty good, JB, around the league.
That they are improving. Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, JB, Daniel Thomas going for 4. Daniel Thomas seeing a lot of activity, and Joe Philbin able to go with all 3 of his backs. Been able to rest Reggie Bush as he uses Daniel Thomas and Lamar Miller.
You see him jump the ball. It's a very fast tempo offense here. Ooh.
Out of the gun. Crowd wants a penalty with Antonio Cromartie at close quarters with Brian Hartline, who has not caught a pass as of yet. That's one of the few times that Tannehill has looked his way.
You got to be careful here. You can't make this throw. They're trying to run the quick screen to Hartline. You see Antonio Cromartie. He's right there. Got to throw that one away. Good job by Antonio Cromartie sniffing that one out.
Dolphins have a third down and 7 at the Jet, 17-yard line. Thomas in the backfield. Again, Tannehill out of the gun.
The pressure.
Off the handoff, big hole for Thomas, and has a first down. LaRon Landry and David Harris combined to make the tackle. He picked up 7.
You go back and you look at this, they're going to bring the safety. They're bringing pressure right up inside. And for some reason, they run right into it and they just overrun it. A really nice job there by Thomas cutting backside.
Looks like Aaron Maben was shaken up. The man that teammates call microphone because of his, like yourself, booming voice, Rich.
like myself. Oh.
They bring out the yardsticks. From our angle, it appeared he picked it up at the spot. Let's see. Yes, he did. It is a first down. So Thomas, 5 carries, 18 yards. There is the head coach of the Dolphins. 51-year-old Joe Philbin out of Springfield, Massachusetts. Offensive coordinator for the Pack for the last 5 years, and assistant coach for 28 years in the NFL and college ranks. First down just outside the 10. Thomas and Lane now comprise the backfield. This is Thomas trying to dance his way, able to bounce off. Great second effort, gets to the 5. That was a Reggie Bush type move.
Well, in talking to Rex Ryan last night, he said how important it was to set the edges on a defense, and they're not doing it. They're allowing all these runs to bounce outside. And I don't care if it's Thomas or Bush, you've got to set the edge and force these running backs back up inside.
2nd and 3 from just inside the 5-yard line. Thomas remaining in the backfield. Thomas trying to go straight ahead. And he is swarm tackled, as Jeremiah Bell likes to refer to it.
And you were talking, Marv, a minute ago about Joe Philbin, and really we sat down with them the other day, talked about their identity. Their identity right now is that they've got to run the ball effectively on offense. They've done that and stop the run on defense. That's what they've been able to do here the first couple weeks. It's going to take a while, I think, for this passing game to get going. They've got to get better at receiver. They've got a young quarterback, and they're young and inexperienced in the secondary as well.
3rd and about 3. Tannehill looking end zone. Fires. A diving attempt that is incomplete, intended for Hartline. And now the field goal unit will come on. Dan Carpenter. And the injured Jet, LaRon Landry, strong safety. Jets have loved his physical play, but at times LaRon gets carried away. Last week called for that personal foul and a horse collar tackle. At times a little overzealous, which has cost. And now he is shaken up.
I think he just got the wind knocked at him. That's just my take. I had the benefit, Marv, while you were talking, to look at the ISO monitor, so I got a good sense of what happened to our guy, LaRon Landry. You're just going to watch Reeves. He's coming across, and they just kind of run into each other, and then watch the reaction from LaRon Landry. Looks like he got hit right in the midsection, and maybe even a little lower.
That's a novel way of putting it.
Thank you.
I've never quite heard that description.
Very eloquent.
Very good.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. This is a 21-yard attempt for Dan Carpenter. It has been all Miami Dolphins. They extend to a 10-0 lead on the New York Jets. Dolphins had the ball for nearly 6 minutes. 13 plays, 75 yards, leading to the 21-yard field goal by Dan Carpenter. And a 10-0 lead for Miami. Miami, a team that lost its opener to the Texans in Houston. Houston getting off to that slow start, then exploding late second quarter. And they won last week against the Raiders. So the bouncer is picked up. And here's McKnight angling. And has nowhere to go. Well, coming up on the Verizon halftime report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher. And there you can see Boomer spending valuable time playing Words with Friends on his smartphone. All coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Even JB thought that was funny.
Yeah. You can see time of possession of this second quarter with 8:20 left to the half. Sean Green, Conrad Ruland in the backfield. Sanchez with a deep drop. Goes sideline and it ends up high and far. Stephen Hill in the area. Sean Smith providing the coverage. I touched on it earlier. Smith is a very tall cornerback, perhaps one of the taller corners in the NFL at 6'3". He's back from a hip injury, played through it last week. A second-round pick out of Utah 4 years ago. There's Tony Sparano, the former head coach of the Dolphins, who did not want to talk about coming back here to Miami. Would not even mention the words Miami or Dolphins. Flag is thrown. He'd refer to it as the other team.
Snap. False start. Number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Called on the right tackle, Austin Howard. Sounds like a political candidate who will not mention who he's running against. It's the other team that I'm dealing with.
That's right. Well, really struggled right now getting the ball in the hands of the receivers. It's been a problem. It's a problem last week as well.
Second down and 15. Green in the backfield. 7 carries, only 23 yards to this point for Green, who was a question mark for today because he took a hard hit last week in the game against the Steelers. Sanchez with a bullet that is tipped. Beautiful play by Dansby, who was able to get back to knock it away, and Holmes, the intended receiver, could not get to it.
Well, they're just out of sync right now in the passing game, and pretty good protection here. He's trying to fit this one in, and just really a nice job by Carlos Dansby turning around, getting his hands on it. We talked about the problems. Look at this last week, the second and third quarter, not a single reception by a wide receiver. And here we are today, not a single reception by our wide receiver, and we're already into the middle of the second quarter.
Mark Sanchez really misses his tight end, Dustin Keller, who was Mr. Dependable when he couldn't find anyone.
And he's so good in the middle of the field.
Sanchez stepping up. A floater that is caught but way short of the first down. Holmes had to come back for it. It is a 12-yard advance, but short of a first down. Marcus Thigpen will drop back for the punt from Robert Malone. Thigpen, a first-year player out of Indiana, played a couple of years in Canada for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, averaging 27 yards a return among the leaders, and it's a fake. Tebow running, and let's see, picked up the first down.
Yeah, direct snap to Mark from the center to Tim Tebow. You can see Mike Westop, the special teams coach there. Here he is right here. Just going to snap it to him. He's just going to run up in the middle. And this is the benefit of having Tim Tebow, and there's a personal protector. He can throw it from this formation. He can run it. Really gutsy call there, backed up in their own end zone.
He did run for that 22-yarder last week against Pittsburgh, but this, the most significant play that the Jets have received from Tebow. Now Tebow remains on the field. Sanchez, the quarterback, and the pass intended at the far side for the tight end, Cumberland.
Mark's got to start throwing to Tim Tebow. You know, every time Tim Tebow gets on the field, it looks like he gets open. It's not like he's running big routes down the field. He just got him running little routes in the flat. But tell me if Tim Tebow's open here. I don't know. I'll throw it to Tim Tebow. See Phil Macy coming there, but
and Rich, during warm-ups, Tebow receiving a host of throws.
He does it all. Gets out there early, he runs, he throws, he catches, he blocks.
But he's got to do it, obviously, in the games. That pass intended in the air. It looked to be a mix-up there. Holmes, the intended receiver, and he kind of pulled up.
Well, I think this is on Santonio Holmes. I mean, when they bring pressure, you have to react by looking hot. You're going to see the pressure come, and he's got to look as he comes back across the field.
Jets 3rd and 10 from the 30. Sanchez just 1 for his last 6 for only 12 yards. Green and Powell are in the backfield. There's some passing down for Sanchez. Off the double pump, completes and a first down. This time he had Holmes underneath, and Santonio Holmes is able to bring it across The 45 near midfield, Nolan Carroll made the tackle.
Well, he's going to run the man-to-man route, then right at the end, watch him stop and then work back, and then Carroll can't keep with him. Really all starts with good pass protection, but a nice adjustment by Santonio Holmes.
Once again, Tim Tebow on the field. Sanchez, the quarterback. Tebow flank to the right, now in motion. Sanchez goes underneath for Green. And he gets to midfield, picked up 6 on the play. Burnett and Bisi make the stop. Tim Tebow's had some tremendous moments here at Sun Life Stadium during the course of his career.
Mark Sanchez having some success with these running backs matched up on the Dolphin linebackers. Good job working back underneath.
Quick. Second down and 4. There's a shovel pass to Powell, and he runs for first down. So Bilal Powell running well. Cameron Wade coming up to make the tackle. He picked up 6. Getting back to Tebow, Rich. This has been one of his favorite stadiums. Back in 2005, won a state high school championship, leading his team to a 45-37 victory. In 2009, he sparked Florida to the win over Oklahoma to take the BCS championship. We talked earlier about the comeback win as a member of the Broncos last week against the Dolphins here last season. First down at the 43 off the play fake. Sanchez punt, and the ball is deflected and broken up. Again intended for the tight end, Jeff Cumberland, covered by Kevin Burnett, the outside linebacker.
Boy, these ends are making things difficult for Mark Sanchez. You know, just having to see Cameron Wake there. If it's not Wake, it's Odrick. He's having a tough time having to step up and throw the ball before he's ready. He's got some good defensive ends here in Wake and Odrick.
4.5 remaining in this first half. Hill flanks wide to the right. Sanchez just now 7 for 17, 58 yards. And that one interception that led to the touchdown. Inside handoff to Powell. He goes for 3. And things do not get easier for the Jets following today as Tebow checks back in. Next week, home for San Francisco, then home for Houston. Game with the Colts. It's unusual, 3 straight home games followed by at New England, then home from Miami, which leads to the bye week. 3rd down and 7. Sanchez under pressure, able to complete to Cumberland. First down and more at the 20. And that is a 20-yard gain.
Really nice job here by Mark Sanchez. You talk about working the progression. Watch, he's going to try and throw the slant to his right. Look where his eyes are. Now he comes all the way back. He's working spacing on the backside. He's getting hit, and he finds his tight end Cumberland for a big first down.
Tebow is back on the field. Jeff Cumberland, 3-year man from Illinois, last year set back by a torn Achilles tendon. Sanchez, the quarterback, hands it off. Green trying the left side and went for 5. So the Jets in the midst of a sustained drive. 4 rushes, 9 passes, 66 yards. They've had it for 5 minutes and 40 seconds and counting. 2nd down and 5.
You got their heavy personnel in there. They got the extra offensive lineman, Jason Smith.
And once again, they go to the ground. Green stopped at the 15, collected 2. Cameron Wake was there to cover up. The ball is spotted just inside the 15 as we approach the 2-minute warning. Tim Tebow back on the field. The Tebow shuttle continues, but they will not get this play off. 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Dolphins 10, Jets nothing. You're watching the NFL on CBS. This is clearly the best drive of the game for the Jets, and it was set up by Tim Tebow running for 5 yards to pick up a first down during the course of pass protection as he took the direct snap. Tebow is back on the field.
Tebow was actually behind quarterback, and now they switched it over.
A lot of shuffling. Sanchez is back out of the gun. Sanchez throws, end zone, and it is dropped. Stephen Hill had a shot at it, covered by the left corner, Sean Smith.
Well, Mark Sanchez gives his rookie receiver, Stephen Hill, a chance. This was actually a pretty good throw. Just got to squeeze it. And then you're going to get a look at Tim Tebow. He gets out in the flat. You can see Carlos Dansby jumps him. Good decision by Mark Sanchez. Just Stephen Hill's got to find a way to make that catch.
16-play drive, and the Jets will settle, they hope, for a field goal from Nick Folk from 33 yards out. Puts it through. So Folk 4 for 4 for the season. This all set up by the fake punt. Tebow was able to pick up the first down.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back to Sun Life Stadium, Miami, Florida. A reminder, tomorrow, don't miss a Two Broke Girls season premiere. It is a shocker, and it's new time tomorrow, 9, 8 Central, only CBS. That drive a moment ago that concluded with the field goal by Nick Folk, the longest drive of the early season for the Jets. This thick padded track star in Indiana will run it out to the 10, 15, and gang tackle. The flag comes flying over the far side. 21-yard return if it holds up. Referee Robert Fraser.
During the return, illegal block in the back by the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Every Wednesday in prime time, JV, Phil Simms, Chris Collinsworth bring you Inside the NFL as only they can. It's Inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime. You know, the guys who commit the penalties have to love the replacement officials because they never mention the numbers.
It's a great point. They don't get embarrassed on television.
But things have been quiet in terms of replacement officials today. That's the only criticism.
Makes our job easier.
No, you like to hear who's, possibly committing the penalties. I'm sure the players don't.
No, I just said that when it's quiet and there's not a lot of flags, it makes our job easier. But
What do you think they are in awe of players, and certain players they will not call flags?
I think they're struggling a little bit with the speed of the game. Overall, you look at officiating around the league, and I certainly miss the other officials, and I know these guys are just trying to do their best, but they have not been trained, and you can see the mistakes they make.
Miami has only one timeout remaining. They may be just looking to run it out as we go under a minute remaining in this first half. Well, Tannehill throws downfield, intended for Hartline. Has not been able to get into it to this point. Covered by Antonio Cromartie.
Well, it was great getting Brian Hartline back, guy that missed the entire preseason. He tries to lull Antonio Cromartie to sleep, and it's tough to complete balls on these two corners. I think it's the best corner tandem in the game with Antonio Cromartie and Darrelle Revis.
Brian Hartline has been superb over the first two games. You mentioned he missed most of training camp, had a calf injury and an appendectomy. And he's made it back. Had the big game last week with 9 catches. Nice move again by Reggie Bush. He is so deceptive, but finally the Jets able to get to him. It's Quentin Copels, the rookie from North Carolina, and feelings, you get the idea, are not happy ones between these two teams.
No love lost between the Jets and the Dolphins. And a good example there. If you're going to tackle Reggie Bush, you better gang tackle him. The first guy usually misses, but then you see some tempers begin to flare.
And over the years, Rich, it's been a heated rivalry, although these guys would have nothing to do at all with what happened in the past. But Dolphins have won the last 3, 5 of the last 7. There have been so many memorable moments. I can recall A.J. Dewey with the 3 interceptions in the AFC title game.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 71. Half the distance to the goal. It will be 4th down.
Well, it's on the right tackle. We got a number there. Jonathan Martin called. Joe Namath had certainly his share of big games 20 years ago. The heroics of the Jets sack exchange. How about the Dan Marino fake spike that led to a touchdown? That's one of the all-time highlights. So Jeremy Curley is back for the punt with 45 seconds remaining in this first half.
Well, kind of a critical mistake there by the rookie, Jonathan Martin. That stops the clock and, of course, allows the Jets to get the ball back here with 3 timeouts.
Well, Brandon Fields back deep to punt, but the Jets have taken a timeout. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, JV, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowler for all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Well, you get some pressure here and get a good return by Curley. You've got a chance to at least get a couple plays off and possibly kick a field goal. Get a couple more points as you head into halftime. You see Tony Sperano there talking to Mark Sanchez about the situation, about some plays he's thinking about with 47 seconds to go.
Miami with a 10-3 lead. They struck early off the interception of Mark Sanchez by Richard Marshall that led to the touchdown. Fields with the punt. Nearly blocked and a flag down as Curley takes it to 40. And Curley tripped up at midfield. 55-yard punt, but a penalty marker is down. Looked to be Eric Smith.
Roughing the kicker. Defense number 33. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
You're going to see Eric Smith. He's going to come right up the middle here, and he actually goes right underneath the punter Fields. It's a low snap. You see Smith come clean, and I don't know. He just literally goes right underneath him. You see Eric Smith. He sees the flag. He's not at all happy about it.
Eric Smith, his first appearance of the season due to knee and hip injuries.
It's pretty good acting there by Brandon Fields.
Miami maintain possession. They'll move it up to the 20-yard line. 36 seconds remaining in the half. Reggie Bush, his time up the middle. It's a 4-yard pickup for Bush. And Reggie Bush holding his left knee.
Miami.
Dolphins take a timeout. Reggie Bush, who has been off to an extraordinary start, his first 3 games.
Well, it's not a guy they can afford to lose. Marv, you mentioned how well he's played through the first 2 weeks, and last year he finally gets a chance to be the featured back, and he didn't disappoint. I mean, I think he proved a lot of doubters wrong, had career highs in carries and yards. You just see here, if it just gets twisted back at the bottom of the pile or what. It's hard sometimes to break your fall. You've got two hands on the ball. You know they're trying to get it out. You see LaRon Landry. He's in the middle of the pile now.
Reggie Bush able to get up and walk off without any help. And you see the numbers here in the first half. 10 rushes, 61 yards.
He was averaging 6 yards coming in a carry, so he's right on pace. And he's so elusive. You know, even when you think you've got him trapped in the hole, he does such a great job bouncing runs and getting up on the second level.
Daniel Thomas comes on for Bush. Time running down in this first half as Thomas crosses the 25, met by Muhammad Wilkerson. Picked up 3 on the play, and that should do it, yes. That'll be the last play of the half, and they'll take a look at Reggie Bush, and we'll certainly have a report as soon as it comes across. So, end of the first half. It is Miami with a 10-3 lead on the Jets. Mark Sanchez not able to get much going in the first half. We'll be back with a Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Here's Sanchez with time again, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Richard Marshall. Here's the handoff. Touchdown Miami. Daniel Thomas. Welcome back to South Florida, where the Dolphins have taken a 10-3 lead on the Jets. Right here, let's take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. And it is Miami quarterback Richard Marshall with the interception of Mark Sanchez, which led to that Miami touchdown. And Rich, how about Sanchez in the first half did not play well last week against Pittsburgh, and the numbers 8 for 19 and 77 yards.
He's got to play better, there's no question about that. But I don't want to hear Jets fans be critical of Mark Sanchez. They've got to do a better job at wide receiver. Santonio Holmes, Stephen Hill, Jeremy Curley, just 2 catches between them. Got to get open. Somebody's got to get open. And, you know, the rushing, they don't run the ball. It doesn't set up well for the play-action game. Of course, the turnover, the interception early really hurt the Jets. Time of possession, not a huge story. That big turnover in the first quarter, and, of course, the Miami Dolphins were able to capitalize.
Are Jet fans calling you at home? Is that what the problem is?
No, but you know how it is. You know, it's so easy to criticize the quarterback. And Marv, I watched the game last week against Pittsburgh. I think the Dolphins looked at that film, and they saw how they really struggled getting off the press man-to-man coverage. And that's what Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator here in Miami, that's what he's doing with these corners. Getting up on these Jet receivers and really dominating them at the line of scrimmage.
And at this point, Reggie Bush has not returned to the sideline. He went down late in the first half. This is Marcus Thigpen awaiting the kick from Nick Falk. Apparently they're waiting for the crowd in back of the end zone to clear. And now we're set.
Safety first.
Yes. Thigpen plays it, moves it out to the 10, to the 20. Ran into his own man as he looked to spin, and a flag is down. Once again, it's Malore on the tackle, 29-yard return.
During the return, illegal block in the back, 23.
It is on Troy Nolan of Miami.
Well, you go back to the end of the first half and you see the injury to Reggie Bush, and this is, if he's not able to come back here in the second half, that'd be devastating. You see him on the sidelines.
And you see Reggie making his way back to the sideline. Daniel Thomas and Jaworski Lane in the backfield as Miami off that penalty, starting out deep in their own territory. Thomas's gang tackle. Rich, to this point, Ryan Tannehill, the rookie quarterback from Texas A&M, is just looking to manage the game.
Yeah, but I've been impressed, though, with his poise. I mean, his numbers aren't going to blow you away. Just 6 of 11 for 62 yards. They haven't asked him to do a ton. They've been able to run the football a little bit. And you know, he's just not turned it over, and that was the key. You go back to him the first week, 3 interceptions. Last week, no turnovers. You don't give your team a chance when you turn the ball over.
Second down and 10, a deep drop by Tannehill, and throws it, is picked off. LaRon Landry. Touchdown, Jets.
And we just jinxed Ryan Tannehill, but one thing there, we talk about throwing the ball in rhythm, and he's just going to hold this thing way too long, and the veteran safety, LaRon Landry, just baits the rookie quarterback.
He ran it in from 18 yards away.
Well, he just sees it the whole way. Now you see him drive on it, and he just took too long to develop.
Pass intended for the tight end, Anthony Fasano. LaRon Landry, one-time Washington Redskin. And now here's Nick Folk. The Jets and the Dolphins tied at 10.
Yeah, this is not how you want to start the second half if you're Miami. Of course, just what the doctor ordered for the Jets, who struggled a little bit in the first half to find their rhythm.
For LaRon Landry, a 6-year man out of LSU, his first career interception touchdown. Made it back from the Achilles tendon problems. One-time Redskin. Due to injuries, played only 17 games the last 2 years for Washington and signed with the Jets. And the game is now tied at 10. Marcus Thigpen is back. And he will not run it out.
When we go back and you look at the interception, he's trying to find his tight end, Anthony Fasano, across the field, just on a deep crossing route. It takes a little while to develop, and just want you to keep an eye on the safety, LaRon Landry. He just sees it the whole way, and he's just going to drive on it now and talk about throwing in rhythm, getting out in front of throws, and that was just too easy for a guy like LaRon Landry.
And let's see how Tannehill reacts to that interception, his 4th of the season.
You have to have a short memory if you're going to play that position. Can't lose your aggressiveness.
Daniel Thomas, the feature back, and takes the handoff. And a fumble. Jets say they have it, and they do. Darrelle Revis on the recovery. Another turnover by Miami.
Well, you think about not having Reggie Bush in there. You've got your backup running back, and then you got to take care of the ball in piles. You see, somebody gets that ball out. It comes out on the ground. You can see Darrelle Revis. He is right there for the easy scoop. Boy,
Daniel Thomas coughing it up. And they look at all turnovers, which is exactly what they're doing at this moment.
Yeah, Revis is the one who gets his hand in there. He gets his right hand in there and rips it out. Now it's a question of whether or not Daniel Thomas had that knee down. It's really hard to tell in the pile, but you can see Revis there. He's ripping and stripping.
official announcement from the referee, Robert Fraser, that they are taking a look upstairs. Jets in Miami tied at 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by the all-new 2013 Ford Escape. It's what happens when you go further.
We're back in South Florida on an overcast day as they take a look at what was called on the field as a fumble. The ball coughed up by Donald Thomas, recovered by Darrelle Revis of the Jets. All turnovers are under review.
We've looked at just about every replay that we have available to us, and it's so hard to tell. You're going to look from this view, and what happens is defensive tackle Mike DeVito, he's in the way. You just watch DeVito. You can't see now what happens with Daniel Thomas's knees. You look at it from the other angle, fullback Javorsky Lane's in the way. And these are big men.
And when Javorsky Lane is in the way.
Yeah, I mean, you got a big pile right there, and it's tough to tell whether or not his knee is actually
The ruling
down.
on the field of a fumble and recovery by New York stands. It'll be New York's ball, first down.
Like a big scrum. I mean, you just couldn't tell whether or not. It was just a really alert play by the veteran Darrelle Revis.
So this half, Miami, 2 plays, 2 turnovers. The interception by LaRon Landy, who ran it back for a touchdown, and now the fumble by Daniel Thomas, recovered by Darrelle Revis. And here are the Jets. First down at the Miami 26-yard line.
Well, usually we see a sudden change of possession. We see a team like the Jets take a shot. There it is.
Play action. Sanchez looking sideline. A diving catch is made by Santonio Holmes. And it is a first down.
Really a nice route by Santonio Holmes. He's going to run the comeback. Now he has to come all the way back across the face of Richard Marshall to catch that ball. Nice job moving Mark Sanchez outside the pocket. This is what they've got to do to get this offense cranked up. They've got to find a way to get the ball in the hands of guys like Santonio Holmes and Stephen Hill.
Picked up 14, third catch for Holmes. Green is in the backfield. First and 10 for the Jets. This is Green. Stopped by the outside linebacker Kevin Burnett for no gain.
Well, they have not been able to run the ball as effectively as they would have liked, and not a lot of big runs. You know, you go back and you look at this Jets offense, you go all the way back to 2010, and just 39 runs of 10 yards or more. It's third worst in the league. They talk about his ground and pound. You see the rushing comparison today, 3.1. That's not where they want to be offensively.
As I mentioned before, I don't know with this personnel if you can succeed with ground and pound. Sanchez with the pass completed to Holmes inside the 5.
Really a nice job by Mark Sanchez extending the ball and faking it, and Santonio Holmes just staying with the route. A really good throw by Mark. He put low and away, keep it away from the hands of Richard Marshall.
First and goal from the 3. Jason Smith checks in as a tight end, who is usually a tackle on the right side. Green, the feature back. And this is Green, but he is stopped. No gain on the play. Cameron Wake, the right defensive end, makes the tackle. And here comes Tim Tebow. And let's see how the Jets use him.
Well, out goes Sanchez, so it's going to be Tim Tebow. And one of the plays that they've run with Tim Tebow down here, and saw it a lot from him in college, is a little jump pass where he starts towards the line of scrimmage, he pulls up, and then he flicks the ball to the tight end.
And I Ideally, this is where the Jets feel that Tebow would be a value. He fakes the handoff. He's in trouble. He leads a tackler, and he's tripped up for a loss.
And what he's got to do in that situation, if you don't fool him, he's got to throw the ball away. He can't take a sack in that situation.
Randy Starks was right on it.
Well, something we haven't seen a lot from the Jets with them throwing the football, and they don't fool Koamisi. Just throw it away now. I mean, Tim Tebow ought to know better. Throw the ball away.
It's a loss of 4. Sanchez returns for the 3rd and goal. Looking end zone. And it's intercepted. So they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Chris Clemens, the strong safety, coming up with his first pick of the season.
Boy, a huge turnover for Miami. Sudden change of possession, and the Dolphins come right back with a turnover of their own. I have no idea who he's thrown it to. We go back and take another look at the interception. I think a couple things happen in this situation. They're trying to get Hill to the corner. What happens is the tight end goes up too far, and what it allows the corner to fall back off and make the play. So the guy covering Hill is not the one that comes up with the interception. It's the safety, Clemens, who falls off the tight end, Cumberland. And you can see the reaction from Tony Sperano. He is just beside himself that they get an interception in that part of the field.
Miami taking over, first down from the 20-yard line. The game is tied at 10. This is Miller. So Lamar Miller, the rookie out of Miami, a 4th-round draft pick, has come on for Daniel Thomas, who on that last series coughed it up. And Miller picks up 5. Miller in his NFL debut last week was terrific. 65 yards, 10 carries, and a touchdown.
Yeah, he chipped in and he added another 172 from Reggie Bush, and that's how you win football games, by rushing for 263 yards against the Raiders.
2nd down and 5, and again it's Miller finding a hole and has a first down, able to slip his way through. The hitman, David Harris, made the stop as Miller picks up 7 more. Looks like Miller lost a shoe in the process, and we're told Reggie Bush is questionable in terms of returning to the game. So we'll see Thomas and Miller the rest of the way. First down at the 32-yard line. And this is Thomas. Stopped by DeVito. Picked up 5.
You can see Tony Sperano over there trying to get things straightened out with Mark Sanchez. Boy, you hate to turn the ball over, but particularly in that part of the field. It's an area where Mark was really good a year ago. Very efficient down that part of the field. In fact, the Jets were incredible in red zone efficiency, the best in football. Sanchez 21 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. He also rushed for 6 touchdowns.
Miami is 2nd and 5. Miller trying to get to the outside, and he's hauled down by Rivas. All right, San Francisco and Minnesota. We take you to New York. James Brown, Coach Bill Cowher.
Pretty good tight end in the San Fran.
Yeah, he sure is. We had a couple with Frank Gore. Vernon Davis, 1-yard out, caps a 9-play, 86-yard drive. And San Francisco getting back in this game, 17-13.
Alex Smith, 19 of 25, 158 yards, and a touch. Back to Marv and Rich.
49ers to face these Jets next week. 3rd down and 2 for Miami as we hit the halfway mark of this 3rd quarter. The game tied at 10. Miller. He stopped short of the first down. Bart Scott was there to plug the hole, picked up just a yard, and here comes the punting unit.
I think the Jets have quieted some concerns about their run defense. You know, after allowing 169 rushing yards to C.J. Spiller, they held Pittsburgh to just 66 yards on 28 carries and been much better in the last 30 minutes. It really helps not having Reggie Bush in there, though.
And we're told also, first of all, Bush could be out the rest of the way with an injured knee, and C.J. Spiller, who's off to the superb start, also injured today, earlier. Beautiful punt. Curley lets it go through the end zone. It's a 59-yard punt. They'll bring it out to the 20. We're tied at 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And by Internet Explorer. Welcome to a more beautiful web.
Well, a festive scene here at Sun Life Stadium. Rick, when you walked in early this morning to the stadium, you're walking along, you said, boy, this is really festive.
Very festive.
And we all looked at each other. Sean Green is the running back. 7:24 remaining in this third quarter as Holmes runs it out of bounds. Run out by Marshall, picked up 8.
Really a crazy start to the second half. Tannehill gets it started, the interception. They run it back for a touchdown, and of course the very next play, Thomas fumbles the football, and Mark Sanchez, he comes back. He chimes in with an interception in the back of the end zone to Chris Clemens. Neither team has looked very sharp here in the third quarter.
Jets with a second down and 2. And it's Chris Clemens stopping Sean Green for a loss of a yard.
Well, you don't have the safety accounted for down around the line of scrimmage, and you just see here he's going to come right off the edge, and Sean Green's got nowhere to go with the ball. He's just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage.
And here comes Tim Tebow. And let's see how the Jets play it. Sanchez remaining at quarterback. Tebow is flanked to the right. Now Tebow in motion. Sanchez looking that way, and it looked like it hit him in the shoulder pad.
Oh, he's going to get ripped in the meeting on Monday. Tim Tebow, you got to run the route and get your head around and look for the football. You're not a decoy. We've been talking to Mark Sanchez about throwing you the ball. Watch. Get your head around quicker.
Actually hit him in the helmet.
That's not understanding the situation. That's what happens when you put a guy in a position where he doesn't have a lot of background and training.
Robert Malone will punt it away. And Marcus Thigpen to the 20. Good coverage by the Jets. 60-yard punt, 8-yard return.
Well, you can't be surprised. The ball will get in on you quick, particularly versus tight coverage.
Today's game marks the NFL celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, a time when the NFL and all teams honor the contributions of their Hispanic fans, players, and communities. In fact, both Dolphins quarterback Sean Smith and Jets quarterback Mark Sanchez are Hispanic, and Mark an active ambassador for the Jets and the NFL and the Hispanic community. Miami first and 10 from the 20. Tannehill nearly intercepted. Antonio Cromartie actually had a better shot at it than Brian Hartline.
Well, you got to run your best routes against these receivers. Look, Cromartie's inside, he jams them, and you've got to finish that route. I don't like the fact that Brian Hartline took the end of that route off.
No catches to this point for Hartline. Big hole from Miller. Goes to the outside. Has a first down and more. Run out by the former Dolphin, Jeremiah Bell. Missed tackle by Darrelle Revis. And that's a 22-yard play.
Boy, Lamar Miller, he winds this one back. You get a good block by a good screen by Best. Now, Revis has to make this tackle. Good balance by Lamar Miller. Then you see some of the speed here at the end of this run.
Miami first down at their 42. Lamar Miller once again has played well, this time in the absence of Reggie Bush. Nothing there. Lamar Miller, who had the big day last week against the Raiders, a 4th-round draft pick. Slipped down because of concerns about his durability. It's like Mike DeVito who is down for the Jets.
Looks like he's cramping up. You can see that calf, and you can see Sione Bohua pushing that toe back, and that sometimes has a tendency to alleviate some of those cramps. You don't realize how hot and humid it is down in that field.
Well, that was a concern of the Jets coming into the game. In fact, Rex Ryan telling us yesterday that the Jets actually had changed their practice schedule, said they had experts come in on the importance of sleep, and they decided to push back the start of practice. He feels the players are fresher, better rested. I don't know, Rich is one who would arrive at the practice facility with the Raiders with, what about 6:15 in the morning?
Yeah, I think there's some merit to it. You know, we talked to Rex last night. They said that sleep analyst specialist, as we need to get one of them at CBS. But they brought the analyst in, talked to the players, and they just really felt like by adjusting the practice schedule, you could prepare for the heat and humidity. The players could sleep in a little bit, shorter meetings and practices in order to ensure that, you know, the team was ready to go. And he really wanted them to be fresh and to play fast against the Dolphins.
Now you would come in at 6:15, and your head coach John Gruden had already been there
a couple hours
at 4:15, right?
Good look at Ryan Tannehill. I've been impressed with his boys. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities in the passing game, but he's doing a good job getting in and out of bad plays.
And off to Thomas. Muhammad Wilkerson making the stop.
We've been talking about how comfortable Ryan Tannehill is. Very unique situation. You know, a quarterback who's reunited with his college coach, Mike Sherman. He's got the same offensive line coach that came over, Jim Turner, the quarterback coach, and Zach Taylor. That's huge for a young quarterback. You know, not a ton of new learning, and so he's got a history with this offense, the terminology and the concepts, both the running game and the passing game. He said last night about 65% of it is very similar to what they did at A&M.
Tannehill able to throw across the field to Thomas. Nice play, and Thomas weaves his way for a first down. David Harris tripped him up. Picked up 11. Darrelle Revis is down, and the Jet training staff out to take a look. Revis missed last week with a concussion. Holding the left knee. And as we noted earlier, a player who rarely had been hurt in his previous 5 NFL seasons.
Well, he's as tough as they come, and you know, he just changes how they can call a game defensively with him back in the lineup. You know, he's lock him down all day on the best wide receiver. You don't worry about it. You're looking at that left knee, and yeah, you see him just coming in this part of the screen, and where he just cuts right there. You can see him on that left knee. Kind of a non-contact injury. Well, you hope it's not serious. Well, he's such a tough guy and never complains. That's what Rex Ryan was telling us last night. He just knows what his assignment's going to be each week. Go up against the best receiver that they have and don't allow him to catch the football.
Arguably the best cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah, you see him right there. You just watch him plant. Watch the left knee. It just tweaks a little bit. Then you see him jump up. Hopefully just a little hyperextension and nothing serious. And it's good to see him get up. But really change, you know, you talk about how it changes the way they call a game. If I'm a quarterback, now it changes the way I think about throwing the football. And if I'm Mike Sherman, now with Revis out of the game, it really, I think, opens up the offense, opens up the passing game. It allows me to take some shots at that Jet secondary. Good look at Mike Sherman there. As we said, came over from Texas A&M, and just a great and unique situation for a rookie quarterback to have his play caller and head coach come along with him.
Mentioned that earlier, he had just missed 4 games during the course of his career. Kyle Wilson has come on for Revis. Tannehill back to the ground for Miller, who found a hole. Boy, he has terrific acceleration.
You see them jump the ball. This is something that Miami's done a really nice job of throughout the season. They don't give you a chance to catch your breath. The other thing is it makes it difficult for Mike Pettin, the defensive coordinator, Rex Ryan, to make substitutions.
2nd down and 4. The fake by Tannehill. Nowhere to go on a bootleg, and he is stopped. Back behind the line. A loss of 3.
All right, looks like he's going to open to his left. The back's going the wrong way. Look at the blocking over there to the left. Ryan does the next best thing, try and get back to the line of scrimmage.
Coming up on 3 minutes to play in the 3rd, Dolphins and Jets tied at 10. Daniel Thomas back in at running back.
Here comes the pressure, you can see it right up top.
Tannehill completes for the first down. Devon Bess on the reception, and a flag comes flying. It's a 14-yard gain for Bess.
Yeah, this one's also going to attack on 15 more. As you see Eric Smith come in, and he hits him up high, right there, with the shoulder right to the helmet.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 33, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Personal foul penalties have hurt the Jets. Ron Landy has had his share, and now a hard hit on Bess, the hit to the helmet, which would be considered defenseless, with Bess already on the ground after making the catch. So it costs the Jets. And Eric Smith is back on the sideline. Miami first down just inside the Jet 15-yard line. Hartline splits wide right side. The running back is Miller. Joe Philbin able to shuffle Thomas and Miller. Here's Tannehill throwing. The catch is made. Was he inbounds? The tight end Anthony Fasano with the reception. And it is indicated as a catch. First and goal for Miami.
Well, if Miami was smart, they try and jump the ball again. Really nice throw here by Tannehill. Great concentration by Fasano, but that comes out. That's definitely one that they should challenge. Watch Fasano. You've got to maintain possession through the ground. See how the ball's coming out? Yeah, I think that's a good one to challenge for Rex Ryan.
So Rex firing the flag some 20 feet over at the far side. And Rich, they went at Kyle Wilson, the man who came on for Darrelle Revis.
That's a good alert play. Find out, work away. Now that Revis is out of the game, work away from Antonio Cromartie. Go after your third best corner. As you see Darrelle Revis leave the field.
Has challenged the ruling on the field of a completed catch. Inbounds.
Well, he actually gets it above his head. He's trying to squeeze it. Really actually a pretty good job here by Kyle Wilson. Look at Wilson's right and left hand. He's trying to rip it out. The official can't see there that ball's actually on the ground. You have to maintain possession through the ground. And that ball clearly is coming out.
Anthony Fasano, who caught a touchdown pass from Tannehill last week. That's the first touchdown thrown in the NFL by Ryan Tannehill. Well, you can celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with the NFL. Visit NFL.com/Espanol, official Spanish language home of the NFL, for game highlights, fantasy football, and a first look at your team's Hispanic Heritage Month celebration.
How about my Spanish? I'm getting better. I had an exchange student for the last 2 weeks here, staying with my wife and my 2 daughters. And Marta from Sevilla, Spain. And all I could say to her was, Buenos dias.
Well,
Buenas noches.
right there, I see a major improvement.
That was progress. We miss her already. She was here for 2 weeks.
She actually was slated to stay for 4, but said she couldn't take it.
2 weeks for me is enough.
Yes.
She was very curious about this American football.
That's very nice of you guys to do that.
Yeah, we had fun with her, but it's been a back and forth kind of game. You get a look at Fasano there.
Anthony out of Verona, New Jersey, which is located about a half hour from the New Jersey Meadowlands. Here's another look at the attempted catch.
Yeah, I don't see how they can give him that ball. It's out on the ground. And a heck of an effort, though, by the tight end.
Fasano out of Notre Dame, originally a second-round pick of the Cowboys, where he spent 2 years, and it's 5th season with Miami.
You know, you just get the sense, you see the delay here with the officials trying to get the ruling right. And I'm beginning to see coaches and players lose their patience with some of these replacement officials. It's taken a while to get the right calls.
Which you can understand because they want to make certain they are
The ruling
inexperienced.
on the field of a reception will stand. The player maintains possession through the catch. New York will be charged a timeout for the challenge.
Well, as unhappy as Rex Ryan is concerning that call, wait until he sees it tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't see this. I mean, right there, he's got it, but then it touches the ground right away. I mean, how can they say that he maintained possession through the ground? Boy, a very big break, I think, for the Miami Dolphins.
Off the challenge, Jets charge a timeout. It is their first timeout of the second half. It is a 1st and goal at the 2 for Miami. Daniel Thomas, the running back. Lane in motion. Here's the rollout by Tannehill. And he'll take it himself. And it looked like he carried it out of bounds. He was gunning for that pylon, but misfired.
And what he's going to see tomorrow, you look at Ryan Tannehill, he's got to stay on the back. When he doesn't have Thomas initially, just keep watching Thomas late in this route. You're going to see Jeremiah Bell. He slides back. Now look how wide open Thomas is. Just throw it to him right there in the corner. And you say you wait, you're late. He could have really helped by moving the safety with his eyes and just kicking that one out to Thomas in the flat.
11th play of the drive, 2nd and goal, just inside the 1-yard line. And here's the handoff. Touchdown. Jaworski Lane with his first NFL score.
What a great story about Jaworski Lane. J-Train, 295 pounds at A&M. They told him to get down to 250 and they'll find a spot for him. And came to training camp, didn't know if he was going to make the team. And Mike Sherman convinced Jeff Ireland to bring him in for a workout. Wasn't a great workout, but he really got better each week during training camp.
And Carpenter makes it a 7-point Miami lead. Jaworski Lane was out of football for 3 years, plays an indoor football, played for Mike Sherman at Texas A&M, listed at 258 pounds. Last February, he weighed in at 304. Well, Rich, as you know, nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Don't miss Rich Gannon, Phil Simms, and Steve Berline on NFL Monday Quarterback tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that show. And another good look at Jaworski Lane. And how about Mike Sherman? Marvin, we were talking about Jaworski Lane. He said all he heard when he took the job at A&M was J-Train this, J-Train that. He said he looked at him at 295, 300 pounds, and he said, you're now going to be a fullback and not a running back.
Well, this is a guy who dramatically changed his diet, began to run 4 to 5 miles a day, stopped eating late meals. A helpful tip to you and our entire audience.
Isn't it great, though, that Mike Sherman never forgot about Jaworski Lane, and he convinced Jeff Ireland to give him a workout. He said he's got unbelievable balance. We've seen that. He's got great hands. You know, we saw him through the preseason. He's built like a fullback, but he runs like a halfback.
The bouncer picked up by McKnight to the 20. And pulls his way to the 25-yard line, and Jaworski Lane all over the field involved in that tackle. Well, the Jets with major concerns now as we take another look at, as you mentioned, the non-contact injury suffered by their all-pro Rivas, who now we're told is out the rest of the way, as is Reggie Bush of Miami. So a costly afternoon here in South Florida for both teams. Powell picked up 4 minute and a half remaining in this third quarter. The Dolphins have a 17-10 lead.
You get a good look at Rex Ryan, and you see Rex, and then you think about Tony Sperano, that combination, and I think Rex and Tony equals more runs. I think they share a common belief and a philosophy on offensive football. They want to be physical, they want to run the ball and be a good play action team, and that's kind of what we've seen for the first 3 weeks.
Second down for Sanchez. He fires. It is complete. Curling. Here's the chase. Down to the 20. Down to the 5. And pushed out of bounds by Sean Smith. A huge play for the Jets that goes 66 yards.
Well, you talk about chunks. They needed a big play to kind of get him going in the passing game. And seen a number of times today where Mark Sanchez has taken an extra hitch and allowed these receivers to beat man-to-man coverage. You see Curley, he's just working on the safety, Rashad Jones, and then once he catches the ball, he's gone.
First and goal at the 5 with a half minute left in this third quarter. The handoff to Green, and he's tripped up. Tripped up by Cameron Wake. Up just 1 yard, clock running down, and that might be the final play of this third quarter.
Oh, a big throw there from Mark Sanchez. Wow.
Jets let the clock run down. We'll head to the fourth quarter. When we resume, it'll be the Jets with a second and goal at the 4. They're down by 7. We'll be back to Miami after this message and a word from your local station. Miami, Reggie Bush headed back to the Dolphins locker room with that left knee injury, and we will not see him the rest of the day. The same for the Jets, Darrelle Revis. The Jets resume first and goal at the 4. Green is the running back. Sanchez throwing. It is incomplete, but a penalty marker. 2 of them come down. Richard Marshall covering Santonio Holmes.
We've got Marshall a couple times today with legal use of the hands and PI.
Pass interference, defense in the end zone. By rule, be ball from play at the 1 yard line. First down.
Well, you got to look at him ISO'd, and yeah, he just grabs him. One of the problems is you got to look back and play the ball. And Marshall's so focused in on Santonio Holmes, he never feels that throw from Mark Sanchez.
It's a first and goal at the 1. Oh, he tried to leap over them the second effort. Kevin Burnett was able to stop Sean Green.
Well, you want to be careful. Don't leave your feet. He just left his feet. And Kevin Burnett leaves his feet too. He and Carlos Dansby meet him in the air. Wow. That was a big hit by Kevin Burnett.
Kevin Burnett, the outside linebacker, who was a question mark for today. Sanchez in trouble. Eludes the tackler. Throws. He had a wide open receiver. Jeff Cumberland with no one around him.
Well, he tried. I mean, it's hard to fault Mark Sanchez. They fool him. Cumberland, he sneaks out, but Mark just can't get it up and down. You see the pressure off the edge. Good fake, but as soon as he turns around, he's got the safety right there, Chris Clemens. Oh, these will kill you. It's not as easy as it looks, Rex.
It is a 3rd and goal at the 1. Opening minute, 4th quarter. Green, the running back.
Oh, they got some movement on the left side of that offensive line.
See the flags thrown, a couple of them. Play was stopped.
Well, you think about that potential touchdown throw. Now you've got a penalty. Now you're going to get backed up.
And here's the uncertainty.
False start by the offense. 68. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Called on the left guard, Matt Slauson.
Well, I think you look at the left side of this offensive line, right in this area here. I don't know if it's Slauson or if it's DeBrickashaw Ferguson that gets going earlier. It looks like DeBrickashaw Ferguson. It's irrelevant. I mean, the bottom line is it pushes them all the way back to the 6-yard line.
3rd and goal from that spot.
Of course, the crowd noise always a big story down this part of the field on the road.
Green to the left of Sanchez. Sanchez could not find anyone. He'll run and stop short. Cameron Wake, who has come up big throughout the day, makes the stop on Mark Sanchez.
Well, you look at Stephen Hill, he's covered. Good job by Smith. You look at Marshall, he's covered up. They're playing in and out on Curley with the safety and Marshall the corner. There's nowhere for Mark Sanchez to go with the ball. Think about that turn of events. They've got a pass interference on Marshall. They get the ball 1st and goal. Big play by Burnett. Then they get the penalty. Now they've got to settle for a field goal.
Nick Folk will attempt from 20, hit from 33 earlier. Minute and a half gone by in the 4th. Dolphins 17, the Jets 13. The Jets had it for 7 plays, 73 yards, 3 minutes, 16 seconds, but could not push it across the goal line. Instead, it is a 20-yard field goal by Nick Folk. Miami with a 17-13 lead.
They've not been good, Marv, here in the second half in the red zone. You think about the interception in the 3rd quarter that Sanchez threw in the back of the end zone. Then they've got 1st and goal at the 1, and they've got to settle for a field goal.
And what set it up was that 66-yard pass and run by Jeremy Curley. Marcus Thigpen, who has blazing speed, to the 10, 15, 20. 27-yard return. Well, it is the mother of all weddings on the season premiere of How I Met Your Mother, followed by the series premiere of the new comedy Partners, tomorrow starting at 8/7 Central, only CBS. Miami starting out at its 21, and they stay with Lamar Miller, rookie from the University of Miami. Miller. to the 24-yard line. David Harris on the tackle. As they continue to shuffle between Daniel Thomas and Lamar Miller. AFC East. They're all knotted up at 1-1.
Yeah, I think everybody's got their issues right now. You're still trying to find out about your club and where you're strong, where you've got some weaknesses and concerns, and of course injuries are always a big part of it.
Key injuries suffered here today. Reggie Bush out, Darrell Revis out. Here is Miller, gang tackle. Lost a yard, 9 carries, 47 yards for Miller. Mike DeVito was able to get the wraps around him.
Just get the sense, Marv, as I watch him here, they're getting a little conservative with the play calling with Ryan Tannehill. I mean, you've got Darrell Revis out of the game. I think you've got to go after the secondary a little bit. Maybe stay away from Cromartie, but the ability to go after Kyle Wilson and the nickel now would certainly be something I'd be thinking about.
Tannehill in trouble and just fires one, and it is caught by Bess. It appeared he was trying to throw it away, and there's Bess at the 45, able to leap to make the catch.
And then it moved the pocket again. They moved Tannehill to his left. He almost runs right into the rush. And wow, what a great catch by Devon Bess on the sidelines. I didn't think there was any way he could get both feet in. Real double move on Lancaster. We talked about going after the nickel. Now with Revis out of the game, you've got Kyle Wilson playing the one corner and Ellis Lancaster the other, a double move.
Flags down as Tannehill unloads a deep pass for Hartline. Flag there, 2 flags back in the backfield. And Antonio Cromartie is down. Here comes the Jet training staff. They have been busy. Darrell Revis is back in the Jet locker room, out the rest of the way. Reggie Bush out the rest of the game for Miami. And there are calls here to sort out.
Well, nice job with the hard count. It takes advantage of the offsides.
Offsides, defense, number 94. That penalty will be declined. We had rough in the pass interference, defense, number 31. That penalty will be accepted. First down at the spot. First down.
So the call on Cromartie, not a good sequence for Antonio Cromartie, commits the interference and also was hurt on the play.
And those Jets doctors, those orthopedic guys busy on the sidelines now. Now you got Cromartie out there. Now you've got both starting corners out. And if you're Mike Sherman, the offensive coordinator, maybe you let your rookie quarterback throw it here a little bit.
In effect, that's a 24-yard penalty and a first down. And again, a penalty marker. These are the delays that coaches have been complaining about throughout the league.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's on John Jerry, the right guard.
Please reset the game clock
Not
to 11
that this
minutes and 52 seconds.
did not happen with regular officials, but not to this point. And you mentioned the speed of the game has been the major difference.
Yeah, I think it frustrates you as a quarterback. You see Antonio Cromartie, he sneaks back in, so that's good news for the Jets secondary.
First and 15. The rookie Lamar Miller in the backfield to the right of the quarterback, Tannehill. Tannehill trying to stay in, but he's being rushed, and this time he does throw it away. And a flag once again as Hartline and Cromartie were battling.
Well, they can't call that on Cromartie. I think what happens is Hartline turns upfield and he starts blocking. They're not going to call offensive pass interference, are they? This is what bothers you, the indecision with the officials.
Pass interference by the offense. Ready to 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It is on Brian Hartline.
Well, what happens is Hartline, he thinks now all of a sudden he's going to block. He starts blocking. I think he's not sure whether or not the quarterback starts running with it, so he's confused, and they get it for offensive pass interference. Kind of an unusual situation that Brian Hartline found himself in there.
Miami's 10th penalty for 62 yards. Jets have been hit for 7 for 79 yards. And things have really slowed down. This game moving along in the first half. Empty backfield. Lamar Miller is now flanked to the left, so the running back is out as a wideout. Here's Tannehill looking the other way and nearly intercepted.
Well, it's always important. When we think about route distribution, we always talk about spacing. And in this situation, not really good by the Miami Dolphins. You're going to see two receivers at the bottom of the screen. Or actually, the inside guys, both of them. Somebody blew the route there. You've got Armstrong, who's missed a lot of practice time with an injury, and you've got Devon Best inside. I think there was some confusion there between the two inside receivers.
Second down and 25 at the Jet 46. Daniel Thomas is back as the running back. Here's Tannehill firing deep down the left side, and it is incomplete. Intended for Anthony Armstrong, who was covered step for step by Kyle Wilson. And right here, let's check in for an update. JV and Coach Bill Cowher.
Back and forth in Washington.
Yeah, Jermaine Gresham was going to take this 6-yard pass from Andy Dalton. They went 5 plays, 80 yards, and in this shootout, they go up 31-24 in the fourth quarter, JV.
Dalton poised and effective. Back to Marv and Rich.
All right, guys, it'll be a 3rd and 25 once again at the 46 of Jet territory. Tannehill over the middle. It is complete, but short of a first down. Devon Best makes the catch, but certainly field goal range, 16-yard advance.
Well, Devon Best has been really good inside the slot. They're having their hands full with him right now. You can see coverage kind of soft on him. Ellis Langster not wanting to get deep, want to keep that in front of him, but now it's allowed Miami to give Dan Carpenter a shot.
And it's a long shot from 48. Last season hit 13 of 16 from beyond 40 yards. He has an angle to the left. The punter, Brandon Fields, will put it down. And Carpenter's attempt is no good. 10:41 remaining. Fourth quarter, the score remains Dolphins 17 and the Jets 13.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Toyota. 1&1 My Website, where creating a business website is easy. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
That was a big miss by Dan Carpenter, a long-range shot, but the score remains the same, and the Jets take over. 1st and 10. Green in the backfield. Sanchez off the pump, fires downfield, and is not able to hit Stephen Hill. He overthrew him. He was covered by Sean Smith. And Hill had a couple of steps. 2nd and 10. Back at the 38.
Well, it's been kind of a sloppy day today. You look at both of these teams, 17 combined penalties. Each have had 2 turnovers and a number of drop passes. They just have not looked sharp on offense on either side.
The running back is Powell. Short set. Sanchez. Looked like might have been throwing it away. Everyone covered over the middle.
Well, you see Mark not happy. And doing the right thing. He's talking to these guys about what he expects. Somebody's got to separate. If it's man-to-man coverage and you've got a zone beater called in the passing game, somebody's got to find a way to win. And they've not done that consistently enough against this Miami defense.
The numbers for Sanchez: 12 for 28, 174 yards, and intercepted twice. Hill is to the right. Green, the running back. Sanchez overthrows, intended for Powell. And the Jets will punt. Well, apparently might have been going for a Hill, although it went through Powell.
I think he's throwing this one back underneath. He just overthrows Powell, and you can see Stephen Hill there. He was limping on the previous play.
Bess is back for the fourth punt of the day by Malone, and the fair catch inside the 15, a 48-yard punt. 10:19 left in the fourth here in Miami. Dolphins in front. Another Jet injury. You see Stephen Hill, number 84. Revis out with the knee. Hill with a hamstring. And Reggie Bush has been out since late first half. Tannehill just flips it aside. 2nd and 10 back at the Miami 14, and looks like Bart Scott's slow to get up.
It's been that type of a game between two divisional rivals, and you're just slugging it out. A lot of runs, a lot of inside runs, a lot of collisions, and the guys having to leave the field to get looked at.
Josh Punga has come on for Scott. Tannehill on the run. That ball deflected, and it is deflected out of bounds. Remember, Ryan Tannehill had that problem opening day with the Texans. Not alone in that department, with J.J. Watt, or J.J. Swat, as they're calling him in Houston, getting a piece of several of Tannehill's passes.
And a lot of times it's just the offensive line not doing a good enough job being aggressive at the end, and there's the numbers for both quarterbacks. Kind of a sloppy day in terms of the passing game.
3rd and 10.
That's a big blitz down, third ball against the Jets.
Tannehill, and that ball is dropped. Anthony Armstrong should have had it.
And I can't say I'm surprised, and I'm not being critical of Anthony Armstrong, but he has missed a lot of practice time, Marv. We saw him out there on Friday, and the speed of the game even gets the players that haven't practiced a lot. You just see this is a perfect throw, and you've got to make that play. And every throw is going to be contested. You see the safety coming over the top, but Anthony Armstrong's got to find a way to squeeze that ball.
Brandon Fields back at his goal line. He'll punt it away with Jeremy Curley, the deep man. And a good punt. Curley on the back pedal to the 30, 35, 40, and knocked down. 62-yard punt, 17-yard return.
Well, with 9:50 left in the fourth, the Jets have had plenty of opportunities, particularly down the red zone. You go back, you look, Tebow should throw the ball away in the situation. The very next play, interception in the back of the end zone. Sean Green gets stuffed by Burnett, and of course, can't get this one off to a wide open tight end in the back of the end zone, Jeff Cumberland. Then he has to run for it here at the end. They have to settle for a field goal.
Good return by Curley. It sets up a first down at the Jet 40. Here's Sanchez throwing deep down the left side, intended for Holmes and broken up. Richard Marshall has done a good job. Got a piece of it.
Well, that's been the matchup today that we've been watching. It's Richard Marshall and Santonio Holmes. They've been going back and forth, and quite a bit of talking as well between plays. And excellent job extending that left hand. Otherwise, that might have been an easy catch for Santonio Holmes.
Marshall, 6-year man from Fresno State, signed as a free agent. after spending time with Carolina and Arizona. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Sanchez again goes sideline, and it's caught by Holmes. Nice play, but a tightrope it, and has a first down. And he does it despite the coverage of Marshall.
Well, that should never happen. What happens is it's double coverage. Marshall's got help over the top. He knows it, so he trails. But watch him slip right at the top here, and that allows Mark Sanchez to fit this one into Santonio Holmes.
And they have a couple of words. 18-yard advance.
You look at Marshall there. He jumped ahead of Vontae Davis on the depth chart in the preseason. That kind of made that trade possible with Indy when they sent Vontae Davis up to the Colts.
First down at the Miami 42-yard line. This is Powell finding a hole on the right side. Alan Powell, a second-year player from Louisville, picked up 5. Kouamisi makes the stop. And a Tim Tebow sighting. Oh, so much for ground and pound.
Yeah, really, it's really kind of been one-sided. It's been the problem with this Jets offense the last 2 weeks. They have not been able to get the running game cranked up. And, of course, that makes things so much more difficult. They get behind in the down and distance. They've not been very good on third downs.
Tebow in at quarterback. Tebow with a shovel pass. And McKnight was tripped up. McKnight, a player who was successful in the Wildcat at USC. He's been bothered by a hamstring and took that shovel from Tebow, but that did not work. And now it's a combination of Sanchez and Tebow. That last play, a loss of 1. It'll be a 3rd and 6.
And you see that triple option with Tim Tebow. And look, this Miami defense has seen a lot of it over the years. Remember now, they had their own form of the Wildcat with Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown.
Tebow lines up in the slot on the right. Sanchez, the quarterback. 3rd and 6 at the Miami 38.
Yeah, these are kind of the interruptions we're talking about. You see Mark Sanchez, he's frustrated. This looked like there was some confusion on the Miami side. And for some reason, the official comes in and resets the play clock.
And this hurts.
It does.
The attempt of running a Wildcat because you try to pull a surprise. And
now it gives you a chance. It gives Kevin Coyle, defensive coordinator for Miami, to talk a little bit through the headset to the defense and get them straightened out. You can see Marshall in the secondary making some adjustments. And it drives quarterbacks crazy. They don't want to play fast. They want to get to the line of scrimmage.
Sanchez has a 3rd down and 6 at the Dolphin 38. Dolphins 17, Jets 13. 7.5 remaining. 4th quarter. Sanchez with a long look. It's dropped. Dropped by Powell.
Well, I learned a long time ago that when you throw to running backs, you got to be perfect. If you throw it on the back shoulder, they're not usually going to make these catches. You see Powell, he's working all the way across the field. Now watch where this one hits him. Yeah, should he catch it? Absolutely. But when you watch the film tomorrow and you're going to be critical of yourself, you've got to be perfect with your location.
Devon Bess back for the Robert Malone punt. Fair catch at the 5, a 32-yard punt. But it forced Miami deep in their territory. They'll start out from the 5 when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by New York Life Insurance Company. And by Subway. It's Subway's birthday, and everyone is celebrating with $5 footlong faves all September long.
The Dolphins start out 1st and 10 from their 5-yard line. Tannehill's pass, grab, nice catch, but nothing there. Jaworski Lee stopped up the line by Antonio Cromartie, and you can hear the impact. Take a listen. Oh!
Sometimes all you have to do is listen instead of you can hear a good hit rather than just see it with your eyes.
Now, what kind of trust does Joe Philbin have in Ryan Tannehill at this spot from his 5-yard line?
I think you got to draw on your past experiences. And Focusing on some concepts that he's had a history with in terms of Mike Sherman himself at Texas A&M.
He's in trouble in the end zone. Runs it out and then flips it.
That's a good thing. He doesn't take the sack anyway. I don't think you can play conservative. I don't think you can play scared. You know, you're only nursing a 4-point lead, and you turn the ball back over to the Jets. And
good pressure by Uha, the nose tackle. I recall listening to Joe Philbin at practice and then telling us, we keep telling guys play fast, but it's impossible under these conditions to play fast.
It is. You're trying to keep players fresh. You're missing some key players. None more important than Reggie Bush, and they've got to change what they've done. They've gone with more Daniel Thomas and Lamar Miller back and forth.
3rd and 10 from the 5-yard line, and a flag is thrown.
Delay a game.
Delay game. Offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still 3rd down.
Now you've got to be smart. Now you're backed up in your own end. You've got a 3rd and long, and you're going up against Mike Pettin and Rex Ryan, who have a history of blitzing in this situation.
The ball is spotted at the 3, and remember early on when Tannehill was deep in his territory, he got picked off. LaRon Landry ran it in for a touchdown. Thomas and Lane are the running backs working out of the eye. And this is Thomas running to his left. Picked up 3. So that will allow a bit more room for the punter, Brandon Fields.
Was in one of these games, you're just waiting for something to happen, and I've lost a lot of these games where we've struggled offensively, we've kept it close, but we couldn't finish late in the game. And Miami had an opportunity there. You've got to find a way to put together a drive and not give the ball back to the Jets.
Curley is back, and Field gets off another boomer. Here comes Curley, 45. And that's it, out to the 47, perhaps the 48-yard line, 57-yard punt, 12-yard return. Coming up next, Matt Schaub and his Houston Texans taking on Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. That's a good one. Or Big Ben Roethlisberger and his Steelers facing Carson Palmer and the Raiders, who were beaten convincingly here last week by Miami. Check your local listings. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon, 1st and 10 for the Jets. From their 47-yard line, 5.5 remaining. 4th quarter, Dolphins have a 17-13 lead. Short set for Sanchez and completes. He has Santonio Holmes at the 35. Stopped by Chris Clemens, the strong safety. And that's a 19-yard pass play.
Really nice job. It's 2 deep coverage, and they're going to go after the slot defender, Jimmy Wilson. A nice job by Santonio Holmes. He works between the nickel and the safety, Chris Clemens, and a really nice throw by Mark Sanchez.
7th catch for Holmes. Powell in the backfield. 1st down from the 35.
You see the double A-gap mug by both of these linebackers. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. It all looks the same.
Sanchez, and it was incomplete. Holmes jumping forward, could not hold on.
Oh, you just got to make this catch. Just run a little slant route. You see him delay. Now he's going to come back in there. We got Santonio Holmes going here a little bit more in the second half. Struggled a little bit in the first half, finding ways to get him the ball. Here's a look at Tony Sparano with that call sheet.
Just under 5 minutes left, 4th quarter, 2nd and 10 at the Miami 35-yard line. Sanchez backpedaling, has Powell down to the 20 and taken out of bounds. Flag is thrown. Rashard Jones with the hit, but Bilal Powell goes for 17 on the catch and run.
Boy, Tony Sparano had the perfect play called up against that blitz. He slipped a little screen pass out.
Holding, offense, number 10. The 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still second down.
It is called on Santonio Holmes.
And really no reason for it. It's downfield. You see Santonio Holmes. He knows he's just running off the corner, and now he tries to come back and get a block. You can't grab. Oh, he should know better than that.
Holmes getting involved with Nolan Carroll. Now Sean Green comes on for the Jets, who are looking at a 2nd and 6 at the Dolphin 31. They're trailing 17-13. Sanchez with the pump. Sanchez fires downfield. Chaz Schillens could not come up with it.
And Marv, I go back to we watched practice a couple weeks ago at the Jets facility, and he's missed this throw a couple times. Anytime you've got a double move, you've got to give the receivers a chance to get started again, and it's hard. You see Chaz Schillens, he's a long strider. When you've got him open like this, you've got to find a way to hit him.
Schillens put a nice move on the left corner. Sean Smith, he had him beat. Rain is falling once again here in Miami. 3rd and 6, down at the 31. Sanchez completes. Holmes once again and a Jet first down. That's good for 15.
Boy, that's a big conversion on 3rd down. You see Santonio Holmes, and they're really working against double coverage. I don't understand. Nolan Carroll, he's playing so soft. He knows he's got help from the safety, Chris Clemens. You've got to do a better job in 2-deep coverage, getting your hands on a receiver like Santonio Holmes.
No touchdowns for the Jets today in the red zone in 3 possessions. Green remains in the backfield. 8 catches, 110 yards for Holmes. Jets have a first down. Here is Green bouncing off a possible tackler. Good second effort, and then he's taken out of bounds inside the 10, taken out by Rashad Jones. So the Jets are on the move with 3 minutes and 44 seconds to play in this 4th quarter.
Yeah, and you're going to see Odrick, he peeks back inside, and just enough for Sean Green. The good second effort to bounce that one to the edge.
Jets have a 1st and goal at the 7. They have Smith as the tight end. Green remains in the backfield. Takes the handoff. No gain as he was met by the strong safety, Chris Clemens. We talked earlier about all the problems the Jets have had inside the 20-yard line.
Well, this very well could be 4-down territory. They've got 3rd and 1 with 3:13 to go, and this is something I'm sure Rex and Tony have talked about. They want a timeout now.
So the Jets are down to their final timeout with 3 minutes and 5 seconds to play in this 4th quarter.
And that may be something they're talking about. You got to think that you can get a yard and a half on 2 downs. This is the part of the field where they've struggled a little bit. Miami's very stout inside in their run defense. And those big tackles have been busy all day. Randy Starks and Paul Soliai. Maybe one of the most underrated duos in the league. They're just so big and strong. They're hard to move off the ball in the run game, and they've got good quickness and push to collapse the pocket in the passing game.
Coming up, time permitting, after the game, the NFL Today update presented by Farmers Insurance. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. Now Holmes flanks wide to the right. This is a huge play for the Jets. 3:05 left. third and goal. I should say third and 1. Here's Sanchez throwing. Touchdown, Jets. Jeremy Curley over the middle, taking a perfect strike. And the Jets have taken a 19-17 lead on the Dolphins.
This is a really nice job by a couple people. First, we talked to Mark Sanchez last night. He said in the critical situation, what do we expect? We expect all-out blitz. And he knows it's coming, they block it up, and he does a nice job finding Jeremy Curley on the slant route. And that's what Mark talked about. He said in a critical situation, we know they're going to blitz us, that all-out blitz up the middle.
This is Nick Folk. 8 plays, 53 yards in 2 minutes and 33 seconds. It's been a huge game for Curley. That's his second touchdown of the season for the second-year man out of Texas Christian.
And Curley knows all he has to do is beat Jimmy Wilson. He knows the middle of the field is open, and you can just see how excited Mark Sanchez is after such a frustrating day in the passing game.
You think that Tony Sperano enjoyed that lead touchdown?
Oh,
he played it very level-headed throughout the week, but you know there's a lot going on there.
You know what? When you get fired, listen, you can't wait to get back and get a crack at that team. And Tony's done a great job all week, deflecting the attention away from himself, back onto the team, back onto the importance of this game being a divisional game. But this means a great deal to him.
And Rex Ryan was telling us he has to be careful of the way he expresses it, but he doesn't want Tony to come in with all kinds of gimmick plays and crazy stuff, and where you get carried away because of your desire to beat your old team.
We always talk about controlling your emotions as players, but don't forget about the coaching staff. I mean, Tony Sperano doesn't want to win today, Marv. He wants to win by 50 if he could. And I think you got to do a nice job staying in the moment and let this game not be about you, but about the players.
Still lots of time remaining. We have 3:01 left. Marcus Thigpen back for the kickoff. He's to the 10. Angles right. Across the 20. Nice return. Reaching out near the 30-yard line. 31-yard return for Thigpen. Joe McKnight made the stop. When we talked to all the Miami coaches and players, first thing they brought up about Ryan Tannehill, his poise. Well, here's the test right here.
We're going to find out with 2:52 left and 3 timeouts. And, this is what you live for as a quarterback, the ability to bring your team from behind.
Miami starts at its 29, and they go to the ground. Thomas. So he is stuffed, picked up 3 on the play. Wilkerson making the tackle. The goal here would be to get Dan Carpenter in field goal range. He missed a big one earlier. It's a 3-point lead for the Jets. Tannehill with time. Oh, good coverage by the Jets. The catch by Anthony Armstrong, but Bart Scott was right there, and there's no gain on the play.
And the Jets do a nice job subbing. You see Bart Scott, he makes the big play, and he hustles off the field so that the Jets can make their adjustments.
So this takes us to the 2-minute warning when we resume. Dolphins 3rd and 7 from their 32. The Jets up by 3. 2 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Jets up by 3. 3rd and 7 for Miami at their 32. But Rich, this 4-down territory.
Yeah, it really is. And I think they've got to pick the tempo up. They've got to get in and out of the huddle. They've got to get in more of a 2-minute mode, as they still have a ways to go to get in field goal range.
Tannehill works out of the shotgun. Gets protection and it is caught for a first down, caught by Best.
Boy, it may make some sense to start doubling Devon Best. They've had a lot of success throwing the ball in the slot to this guy right here, and they haven't had an answer for it.
That's his 5th catch, 13-yard pickup, first down at the Miami 44-yard line. Clock is running. Miami does have 3 timeouts left. They have all 3. And Anthony Armstrong not able to make the catch. Tannehill went sideline right at the marker. There's Carpenter warming up. His last attempt from 47 went wide. He hit from 21 earlier. Usually very effective from beyond 40.
And the other thing you have to be very conscious of if you're the Jets is Ryan Tannehill. If you're in coverage, this guy can really pull the ball down and run.
Well, thought they saw movement at the Jet end.
See him changing the protection up front.
Inside handoff for Thomas. Moves the pile. Keeps going, refusing to be tackled, and gets up near the marker.
Well, really a nice play by Ryan Tannehill. You see him, he does that all himself. I mean, he recognizes a different look. He moves the back over. He dials up a little inside draw. Just really outstanding poise by the rookie quarterback.
And it stops the clock for a measurement with 1:14 left.
And you saw right after the play, he was looking over the sidelines for some guidance, looking over to Joe Philbin. Do I take a timeout here? They a little bit of a break here with the measurement, but they'll spot the ball on the ready, and so
just short.
They've got to call a play and get up to the line of scrimmage.
1:14 remaining in this 4th quarter. The Jets have come from behind. They have a 2017 lead on the Dolphins.
Plenty of time, 1:14 with 3 timeouts left. You're only talking about another 15 yards to get into field goal range, if that.
Thomas remains in the backfield, and now the quarterback sneak. It's a first down for Tannehill. Clock continues to run. Miami has 3 timeouts left, and they're letting the clock run.
They got plenty of time.
First down at the Jet 42.
They just keep running it.
Tannehill over the middle, deflected and nearly picked off by Smith. Pass intended for Fasano. That stops the clock.
Now you've got to be smart. You've got 46 seconds left. You see the matchup. He's got the tight end right down the middle of the field. Pretty good coverage there by Eric Smith. You watch the left arm of Smith. That's just pretty good coverage.
2nd and 10 at the 42. Tannehill looking to the right and overthrows, intended for Fasano.
Boy, that's one you'd love to have back. You've got to hit him when you got him open like that. You just don't get that many opportunities. He reads it out right. Knows he's got the tight end one-on-one to the corner. He just misses the throw.
Well, from this spot, it would be a 59-yard attempt for Carpenter, who missed from 47. His career high happens to be 60 a couple of years back. But you do not want to be in that position. 3rd and 10 from the Jet 42. Tannehill throws the middle. It is incomplete. And a flag is down against the Jets. Devon Best covered by Kyle Wilson.
And Kyle Wilson never turns back and finds the ball. That's the matchup they've really been going after, is Devon Best. Marv, I mentioned it a few minutes ago. Why not double the guy that's hurting you inside?
Pass interference. Defense, number 20. Spot foul. Automatic. First down.
Well, Wilson knows he's got help down the middle, but look, he never turns back and finds this ball. That could have gone either way. You can see Devon Best trying to make a play on it.
It's a 19-yard penalty, new set of downs for Miami. Best interfered by Wilson, who took over for the injured Rivas. Tannehill throwing sideline incomplete. Down to 32 seconds. 3 timeouts remaining, though, for the Dolphins. And again, that intended for Fasano.
I'm a little surprised by the play call. I mean, they're already in field goal range. You've got 30-some seconds to go, and you've got 3 timeouts. Let's be smart. We've got a young quarterback. I don't want anything bad to happen. Run the ball up inside 3 times and kick the field goal. That'll run it right here.
This will be about a 42-yard field goal attempt for the tie. Tannehill throwing end zone. Intended for Hartline. And he's covered by Cromartie, down to 27 seconds to play.
I don't know. Mike Sherman and I aren't seeing eye to eye on this situation. That's a pretty good kicker, Carpenter, and he's good from 42, you'd think, and you think you could just run it a couple times, even if you pick up 5 or 6 yards.
3rd down and 10. And again, Tannehill out of the gun. He has Thomas to his right. And again, throwing end zone and overthrows Hartline. Hartline had some space. Covered by Cromartie, so it will come down to Dan Carpenter, who earlier missed from 47 wide left.
Well, he wasn't happy with that.
This will be from 41, and generally very effective from beyond 40. Angle to the left, Fields will hold. This is for the tie. And he has put it right through. The game is tied at 20 with 16 seconds to go.
Well, they were trying to win it. They're taking some shots with the young quarterback. I just thought it was dangerous. They kept on going after Antonio Cromartie on Hartline. You see Tony Sperano. He knows he's got probably looking at realistically getting into overtime here and trying to get something going with just 16 seconds left and 1 timeout.
Twelve plays, 48 yards, 2 minutes, 45 seconds. And the Dolphins able to tie it with a 41-yarder. Jets and the Dolphins tied at 20. If we go to overtime, Rich, it'll be the 3rd of the day and the 4th of the season. As the night lets it fly by, and they'll bring it out to the 20. The Jets do have 1 timeout left with 16 seconds to play. Jets start out at their 20-yard line. And the overtime rules do match the new concept utilized during the course of the postseason and the playoffs. Green with the carry. And the Jets take their, let's see, might have been Miami because they have 3 left, perhaps. No, Miami took the timeout.
Well, you mentioned, Marv, overtime of postseason games. Both teams get the opportunity to possess the ball, so unless there's a score on touchdown on the first possession, so or if the defense scores in the first possession. So a little surprised Miami took a timeout in this situation.
Well, the thinking here, obviously, if the Jets fumble the ball, and here they're located at the 22-yard line, anything can happen.
Well, all the Jets want to do is just run this clock out and get into overtime.
They put a second back, 11 seconds remaining in regulation. The running back. There's Green holding on to that football as he moves to the 25, and again a timeout called by the Dolphins to stop the clock with 6 seconds to go. See, Mike Sherman actually knew that. He was saving it for this possibility. So Miami has one timeout left. And the Jets certainly want to just run this out and get to the overtime session. It's been a wild one. And unfortunately for both teams, key injuries were suffered. We don't know how serious, as Reggie Bush forced to leave late in the first half with a knee problem. And Darrelle Revis, who sat out last week with a concussion.
Arguably each team's best player. When you think about how well Miami was running the ball at Reggie Bush, and of course the Darrelle Revis factor and what he can mean to a guy like that, Rex Ryan and Mike Patton, as they call defenses, and the flexibility that it gives them. And both teams have had to change courses, change plans as a result of the injuries.
Sanchez again handing to Green. And that will do it in terms of regulation. Miami did try to call a timeout. Let's see if the official clock had any time left. Scoreboard showing zeros. And now they say officially that regulation is over. And this one headed to overtime. Third game of the day that goes into the extra session. And a look at the official rules. The coin toss deciding possession as usual. There's 15 minute quarter. Both teams must possess the ball once unless a touchdown or safety is scored on the first possession. After that opening kickoff, the score is tied after each team's first possession. The next score will win the game. So it could be tied 3-3 or 7-7. No, as far as timeouts, 2 per team, and no coaches challenges, only booth.
And I thought it was a good decision for the league to, make sure that the overtime during the regular season will be the same as postseason. Both teams having the opportunity to possess the football. I didn't like how it was a year ago, where just in the postseason.
All right, gentlemen, this is modified overtime. Play a 15-minute. Whoever scores on the first score, if it's a touchdown, the game will be over. Each team will have the opportunity to possess the ball one time. After that, we're playing football. The same coin. This is tails. This is heads. New York, it's your call. What was his call? It was heads. It is heads. New York is one. The ball. Team like to kick from. Kick this way. All right.
Tim Tebow with a critical call of heads.
Heads it is.
So when we come back, we're headed to overtime. And Miami will kick it off to the Jets. Jets winning the toss, and there's Joe McKnight getting set to receive the kickoff from Dan Carpenter. Carpenter, 5-year man out of Montana, was able to tie the game with the field goal after missing a critical field goal earlier. Jets and Dolphins tied at 20 in this week 3 of the NFL. Deep kick and McKnight lets it go.
Well, you go back and look, the Dolphins got things going early. See the plunge from Daniel Thomas to go up 7-0. Laron Landry gets a big pick from Ryan Tannehill. The Jets race right back. Interception from Mark Sanchez in the back of the end zone. They really struggled today in that part of the field. Laborski Lane with the touchdown run, and of course, Jeremy Curley with a big throw from Mark Sanchez, the tying field goal late to send this one into overtime.
So here are the Jets starting out at the 20. Powell in the backfield. Makes his way up to the 24-yard line, stopped by Solei. And we're set for an update. Let's go to New York, JB, and Coach Bill Cowher.
Marv, Pittsburgh on the board first.
Yeah, Ron Clark interception and a third down pass, 4 yards out. Heath Miller, Pittsburgh up 7-0 in Oakland.
All right, let's take it back. Some of you will be seeing that game after this one. Back to Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
Well, it has been overtime festival around the league. Jets now with a second down and 6 from the 24. Big hole for Powell. Tripped up at the 35, has the first down, stopped by Rashad Jones. An 11-yard run. Good block by the center, Nick Mango.
Boy, that was a big hole. Nice job by Slauson on the left side. You see him kicking out, and the Brickashaw Ferguson. Huge hole for Powell up inside.
9 carries, 41 yards for Powell. First down at the 35. Here's Powell trying the other side. 4-yard gain. Misi, the outside linebacker, makes the tackle, and now here is Tim Tebow. For those who may have just tuned in, once again, very little in terms of production from Tebow while he was in punt protection. Did take that direct snap and ran for a first down. That was his big play of the day.
I think they have to throw it with Tim Tebow. That really opens up the possibilities and forces the defense to defend the pass and not just the run.
Sanchez to throw. Pumps, throws, through a crowd, and it is broken up. Intended for the tight end, Jeff Cumberland. Richard Marshall on the coverage.
Well, Mark Sanchez very, very fortunate in this situation. I was just joking with you off air. This is cover 3. 3 Dolphin defenders around the tight end. Cumberland, you can't make that throw, particularly in this situation.
It's a 3rd and 6 for the Jets. We're in overtime with 2 minutes gone by in the OT. Sanchez able to angle it for the first down. He finds Chaz Schillens. Picked up 8 for Schillens, his first catch of the day.
I don't know how this happened, but this was the matchup they wanted. You looked at the bottom of your screen, you've got a receiver on the linebacker, and that just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I realize Kevin Burnett's a good player, but that is Chaz Schillens, the wide receiver.
And Schillens goes 6'4", 225 pounds out of San Diego State, former Raider. Green is back as the running back. First down for the Jets. Play action. Sanchez looking deep. Sanchez fires downfield. It is incomplete. Intended for Holmes.
Well, on 1st and 10, they take a shot and they don't fool them. And that's what happened. They send 2 men out in the route and they keep 7 in the block. So you've got, you see a double move there. Nice job by Marshall. He knows he's got help in the middle of the field with the safety, Chris Clemens. Good coverage on the back end.
Jets have a 2nd and 10 at their 47-yard line. Once again, Powell is in the backfield. Sanchez out of the shotgun.
Timeout. Miami.
Miami calling for time. Apparently did not
That's their
like
first
what
timeout.
they were looking at from their defensive point of view. We'll be right back. One-time head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Tony Sperano, now the offensive coordinator for Rex Ryan and the Jets. Jets have a 2nd and 10 from their 47-yard line. We're in overtime. The Jets and the Dolphins tied at 20. Sanchez 18 for 41. Only 41%. 254 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The running back is Powell to the left of Sanchez. And on the snap, it's recovered. And, oh, is that dangerous. And Mark Sanchez and the Jets, very fortunate. He threw off the back foot. It was deflected and incomplete.
Well, that could have been a disaster. I mean, you see him fading away here. He gets hit, and Vernon almost comes up with that one. Just takes his eye off. I don't know, the ball just slips out of his hands. Oh, wow, look at Vernon. Almost made that play.
Pressure put on by the left defensive end, Jared Odrick. 3rd down and 10. Sanchez couldn't find anyone. And a circus catch is made, but short of the 1st down. Chaz Schillens able to make the grab, but it's short. Picked up 8 on the play.
Yeah, it just looked like Mark was looking downfield at the last minute. He realizes Chaz Schillens is coming across the field. He's able to get that one on the front number. Schillens may still be running.
Von Bess awaits the punt. Back at his 10. Calls for the fair catch inside the 10-yard line. 36-yard punt. Miami will take over. And within the overtime rules, now that the Jets were not able to score on that first possession, a field goal by Miami would win it.
Yeah, it really changes the way you think about things from Ryan Tannehill's perspective. The Jets have already possessed the ball. Now all you got to do is drive down there and give your field goal kicker, Dan Carpenter, another opportunity.
1st and 10 from the 9. The handoff to Thomas. Daniel Thomas stopped by David Harris, the inside linebacker, but Thomas picked up 5.
What do you think about Miami today? You talk about a commitment to the running game. They run the ball 40 times. 40 times with 3 different backs, Bush, Thomas, and Miller. He's got an unbalanced line as well. You look to the right side of Ryan Tannehill.
And here is Thomas. Stopped by Scott.
We've seen the Jets do this a little bit as well, this unbalanced line. Neither team, though, has thrown the ball out of that formation. That's the next step in the progression.
Miami a 3rd down and 2 at the 18. This game is approaching the 4-hour mark.
You don't have a flight to catch or anything, do you?
No, I don't. Matter of fact.
Okay.
Just pointing it out. Just information for you. Nope. Jets take a timeout. When we come back, 3rd down and 2 from the 18 for the Dolphins. Welcome back to Sun Life Stadium in Miami. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon, Miami. And the New York Jets tied at 20. We are in overtime. Just about 5 minutes have gone by. The Dolphins in possession. They have a 3rd down and 2 at their 18-yard line. Led to the line by their center, Mike Ponce. Daniel Thomas The running back now moves to the wing. Empty backfield for Ryan Tannehill. Bullet pass, first down, Miami. Anthony Fasano stopped by the former Dolphin Jeremiah Bell, and Anthony Fasano has emerged as the favorite receiver for Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, it seems like it's either Hartline or he comes back inside to the tight end. Anthony Fasano matched up against the strong safety there, Jeremiah Bell.
5 catches for Fasano, first down at the 24-yard line. Now Thomas in the backfield. Play action. Tannehill throwing deep down the right side, and a terrific catch is made by Brian Hartline.
Well, one of the things that Rex Ryan told us about last night, we talked about Brian Hartline. He said the route that he runs is the comeback. So what do? They set him up with the comeback, and he double moves and goes right by Antonio Cromartie. An excellent throw by Ryan Tannehill. Boy, what a big play at a critical time in overtime.
Hartline with 9 catches last week, a career high. This is first of the day for 41 yards. First and 10 at the Jet 35 as the Dolphins move into position for a possible game-winning field goal. This is Thomas moving right and then left, met by Garrett McIntyre. Picked up 2.
You look at Ryan Tannehill's numbers on the day, 16 of 35, 196 yards, and just threw the 1 interception. But you look at the things that he did, the poise, his ability to get them out of bad plays. He had 10 checks last week, which were all positives, according to Joe Philbin.
From this spot, it will be a 49-yard field goal for Carpenter. They want to get closer. And here is a pass from Tannehill, overthrown, intended for Hartline. Hear the crowd react. They wanted an interference call on Kyle Wilson. Kyle Wilson has been the target since the departure of Darrelle Revis.
Well, there's some jostling going on the sidelines. You see they're going after Hartline up top. I think that's okay. Quarterback's got to keep him on the field, and Hartline could have helped himself by changing lanes and jumping in front.
Kyle Wilson, a 3-year man out of Boise State. There's Dan Carpenter thinking about things.
Yeah, he'd like to see somebody pick up another 7 or 8 yards. Make this kick a little bit easier.
3rd down and 7. Thomas works his way to the 30, met by Landry, and here comes Dan Carpenter. He's hit from 21. From 41, he's missed from 47. John Denny, the long snapper. Brandon Fields, the punter, the holder. This from about 48 yards away. And as we mentioned earlier, usually very good from 40 plus.
And I think he likes being on the right hash. This is where he made the previous kick to send this thing into overtime.
And a timeout is called as they line up. Timeout Jets, so they want Dan Carpenter to do some additional thinking.
You always think about the coaches calling the timeout to ice the kicker. You go back to 2000, 77.3% of the time these kickers make it with no timeout. After the timeout, ironically enough, almost 80%, no matter the distance. So I think it's very difficult to ice these kickers. Trying to time it up, wait till the last second. So in the final 2 minutes or overtime, going all the way back to 2000, you're talking about approximately 77% of the time they make it with no timeout. If they do call a timeout, it allows them to get reset. The percentage actually goes up almost 3%.
Rich going deep into the record books. Here it is. For the win. Good snap and the kick. It is no good. Carpenter missing again.
Well, it looked like a good snap and a good hold. Good snap by Denny, nice hold, and he just misses it again left. It's the second time. The other miss was the same thing. Right. He just kind of hooked it left. A little bit like your forearm off the tee.
Exactly. Missed from 47, missed from 48.
Well, Rex fired up knowing he gets another opportunity now with his offense.
Jets take over. Green is in the backfield. Sanchez, and a good look. And a sideline pattern. The tight end Jeff Cumberland on the reception. Picked up 7, covered by Burnett. Second down and 3, and Nick Folk warming up for the Jets. Jets have the ball just outside their 43-yard line. The game tied at 20. We are in overtime. Here's Sanchez with a deep pass. Holmes taken down across the 20, but a penalty marker is down. It's been a busy day for the referee, Robert Fraser. Richard Marshall involved in the coverage of Holmes.
Holding, defense, number 31. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Number 31 is Richard Marshall.
You go back and look at it, he just tries to grab him and hold him right there. And he knew he got beat right at the line of scrimmage. And, well, they've gone back and forth all day, Richard Marshall and Santonio Holmes. It's kind of been a slugfest. And Santonio Holmes looks like he has the fresh legs late.
That ends up as a 38-yard play in all and a first down at the Miami 18-yard line. The next score wraps it up, and the Jets with an opportunity. Green is the running back. They work out of the eye. Here's Green pounding his way inside the 15-yard line.
Boy, if you're Dan Carpenter, the kicker of the Dolphins, you got to be sick. You missed a 48-yarder and a 47-yarder, and it's really the difference in this game right now.
2nd and 5 at the 13-yard line. Folk, incidentally, for the Jets is hit from 33 and from 20. 2nd and 5 at the 13. Green tried to follow his blocker, could not get to the edge, and he's taken down for a loss. Taken down by Koamisi. Lost 2 on the play.
They'll kick a field goal. They've got third down. If they have a bad snap, this allows them to be smart and take another shot at it on fourth down if they don't actually kick it. So bring the kicker on Nick Folk, and now he gets a chance to win it for his team.
This from about 33 yards out. Tanner Purdom is the long snapper. Robert Malone, the holder. This is Nick Folk for the win, and it's blocked. And a timeout may have been called before the snap. It's always dangerous waiting for that last instant. But it appears they got the call of timeout. Joe Philbin looking to ice Nick Folk. Ends up hurting the Miami cause. A break for the Jets as Miami is charged with the timeout.
Well, you just look right on the inside here. Starks is going to come right up the middle. Actually, he's right here. He gets a good jump on the ball. He gets some push. Watch, he comes clean. He pushes back. The left side of that line, he gets a hand on it.
They're ready for yet another attempt. Folk again for the win, and this one is good. The Jets have defeated the Dolphins 23-20 in overtime. Coming up next, it is Game 2 of the NFL on CBS doubleheader. For Rich Gannon, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from Miami. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.